Okay. There's like a little live thing in the
Oh, yeah.
corner.
That corner.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Right. So, things are different.
They are.
This is going to be pretty shambolic, I think. But so this is a trial of you may notice there's a different peripheral nonsense, and we've got a robin. I don't even know what side you're enabled a robin. Wait, can I poke your ear? Can you put your ear closer to the cord? Touching your brains. Touching your brains. That's good. That was good.
Grim.
Was it good for you? It was good for me.
Yeah.
You've had better, I know, but come on, it was my first time. It was my first time on stream. Hello. So hello, Robin. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're trying this new setup. So frankly, I've got no idea what's going on. I don't know if I'm really live or not. I don't know where the information is. We're through the looking glass at this point. I've got no view counter for like how many people may or may not be watching us in this moment.
Oh, wow. That's kind of dangerous and also quite a positive thing as well.
Super disorientating. Yeah, I don't tend to pay too much attention to it because the Twitch view counter is kind of one of those truly random numbers. It seems to be sort of a random number generator within 5 points of where you may or may not be.
Yeah.
Like it's really weird. So yeah, we're trialing this out for a couple of reasons, mostly because we've got some upcoming, what I'm calling the Deviant Dialogues, which is just like conversations one-on-one with a few people, which I'm really excited about. And in fact, the first one of those is going to be tomorrow. Is that right? Did we agree the 18th?
Yeah. That's what you said to me last time.
Oh yeah, but now I'm thinking like, have I been saying this for ages and I'm just used to saying it? And is it right? Let me. I'm looking it up. We're gonna have some goddamn accuracy up in this goddamn mofo right now. We're gonna bust out some accuracy.
It's always time for a first time,
mate. How have you been, Robin? Nice to actually see you on stream. As if
I know, right?
Just this kind of little voice I keep in a box under my desk somewhere.
Disembodied voice. Hopefully the sound is a bit better this time as well.
Oh, it is definitely. Is that a new mic or just a better setup mic?
No, this is the same mic, same one. It's just hopefully we've got the leveling sorted out this time. Last time
oh my god, it was so bad. I am so sorry about that. I completely forgot to say, last time, so basically I'd spent some time setting up the microphone and followed some tutorials to improve the audio. And they were like really bad tutorials. They were like basically evil tutorials for setting up your audio in OBS. And so that was kind of not great. And then the other thing was that I'd set up ducking on the primary channel, on like the main audio channel. Ducking. So like basically when somebody speaks, it lowers the volume of background. So basically, if you're playing Call of Duty and you're saying some stuff, you want to be louder than the game audio, basically. So it drops the volume automatically based on whether the microphone is hearing stuff. But the problem is you were coming through on that channel that normally is reserved for games, essentially. You were coming through the desktop audio channel. So every time I spoke, not only was it way too loud, not only were you super quiet, which I couldn't really do anything about, like why your volume was so low, but it was made so much worse by every time I spoke, it just killed your microphone and just dropped your volume right down. So it just made it so much worse. So hopefully that is better this time. And if it's not, here's the thing. I got nothing I can do about it because this is all out of my hands. So apparently this software's got like automatic volume adjustment stuff baked in. So who knows whether it's going to be effective. So yeah, there's that excitement. So for anybody that's interested, we're currently trying out StreamYard. There are a bunch of these tools available, and we're trying out StreamYard for these sessions right now. As a fancy result, we actually don't have any of the fancy overlay stuff that I've spent literally days of my life like coding away.
It's all gone.
it's all gone. It's all useless. It's all, well, it's not all useless. It's still an OBS, but like it's none of it's going to work with this platform. So that's interesting. By interesting, I mean a bit of a bummer. So we've got that, but we do have chat. So if you have anything you want to shout at us in chat, we would love to hear from you. Technically, we should be able to see chat appearing, and I think we can. So there's going to be no sub overlay, so bit donations aren't going to come up. We're not going to get like, I don't even know what we're going to get. We're like through the rabbit hole on this stuff, but we are supposedly also live on YouTube right now. So we're simulcasting on Twitch and YouTube. And so whichever platform you're on, you should be able to shout at us and we should be able to hear what you're saying. So that'll be exciting. So let me find this date for this event. So I've booked it in. I'm pretty sure that the first one is tomorrow. Yeah, the 18th, right? That's tomorrow?
That is tomorrow.
You could have told me the 18th was yesterday and I would have believed you. Like, I've literally got no idea. So yes. So let me bring up some graphics onto the screen. And,
we can do graphics.
We can do graphics. It's like the future. I should have faster internet now, by the way. I've upgraded my internet to 1 gigabyte.
Gigabit.
So gigabit.
1 gigabyte. Well, yeah, gigabit.
No, it will be 1,000 megabits per second. Yeah.
Yeah, so gigabit.
Yeah.
That's pretty shit hot.
Well,
does it get much better than that?
Not that they would tell me about. I'm sure they've got. I'm sure like the Queen gets like.
Oh yeah.
Super. Speed.
Queen speed.
Very slightly less than Godspeed. Just very slightly. Just to Godspeed and just itch it down by like a tiny little bit, and that's Queen speed. And then like way below there is like mortal speeds.
Yeah. Will
so
speed.
Yeah, I should have super fast interwebs. However, my organizational skills are impeding me at this time.
Oh, Sleepy says that I'm a bit loud compared to you.
Hot damn! We're just not used to it. Dobbs is a bit loud compared to you, but other than that, sounds good. Sleepy, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Our first ever comment in this new platform.
Yeah, I'll just sit back a little bit from the mic. Maybe that might be a bit better. Bit of mic discipline.
Maybe stop hogging the mic. Maybe we're just not used to hearing you. Maybe it's just your voice being present is already sounding too much.
It's like, oh, that is loud. Wish he'd shut up.
Who's that? Who's that annoying whiny white guy with glasses? Like, oh wait, how could we even tell? It's not even narrowing it down. This is basically a poster for the need for diversity in media, isn't it? This is just a real problem.
Although we're self-publishing, so we get a pass, I think.
Do we? I don't think we do. Not in the court of public opinion, Robin. We do not get a pass there.
I was clinging to straws.
All right. So with a bit of luck, there we go. Ooh. Cool. So this event's coming up tomorrow. So this is basically tomorrow. This is a conversation I'm going to have with John from Quality Question. So John, so basically I did this really fantastic little panel thing last week or the week before, where I was invited to participate in a street epistemology panel review, like an SE review session. So they do these basically. So street epistemology is basically this this movement whereby people go out and have productive and polite conversations about people's epistemology, the reasons they believe things that they believe, whether it's religion or whether it's that they believe in karma or they believe the earth is flat or whatever the belief is. The idea is street epistemology is a sort of a movement that encourages people to go and have polite, productive conversations about the reasons why somebody might believe that. So it's not about telling them they're wrong. It's not about debating. It's just encouraging the person holding this position to think about the reasons they hold it, why they believe it to be true. And the SE review sessions are these kind of really cool, actually. It's a nice idea. The idea is that they will often, a lot of people will film these sessions, these conversations, and put them up on YouTube. And the SE review session is basically people sitting around and reviewing and commenting and critiquing the SE session and saying how effective it was, or what tools they used or could have used, or different ways they could have asked the questions, sometimes challenges with the position, and all kind of good stuff like that. And the particular video that I was invited to talk about was one by Anthony Magna Bosco, who was probably one of the most, or if not the most well-known street epistemologist. He's got a huge YouTube channel, and he's been doing this for about 7 years, going out and having interviews with people. And this was a video from a few years back, and it was a video that was conducted between him and two Mormons that were on a Mormon mission. So if you're a Mormon, you go out on a mission, and that's usually you go to some location around the world and you go out and you proselytize for Mormonism, essentially. And so it was really interesting to be on that panel. It was very kind of them to invite me. It was even stranger for them to invite me back for a second go to the second half of that video, because it went long. I think it went long, to be honest with you, because they invited me on. And, you know, if you're going to invite me on something, you better double the time allocated for it, because I'm going to talk, right? So it was a really interesting video. It was interesting because actually Anthony, who's incredibly good at this. I mean, most of what we think of when we think of SE done right is usually he's the example of how effective it can be. And actually what was really fun was he got a few things wrong, I think, in this video, and for really interesting reasons. And it made for a really interesting conversation, I think, about the fact that, frankly, the method actually has some merit. And we could talk about that. But on the panel show, I actually met two people, a gentleman called John, who I'm going to be speaking with tomorrow, and another gentleman called Jonah, who's going to be doing an event. I think we're getting this close to being penciled in for, I think it's the 24th or 27th event. Actually, I should have it here, actually. Oh, no, maybe not. So yeah, Saturday the 27th, I think, is going to be that one. So this tomorrow is going to be a conversation with John where we talk about his journey and how he got to street epistemology. And then on the 27th, we'll talk to Jonah and do the same conversation with him, which is going to be super fun and interesting. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm really excited about what this might mean for the sort of channel and sort of content moving forward. But in order to do these kinds of conversations, it makes sense to use a tool like StreamYard, because it's just very easy to invite guests to participate. Hence they're trying this out. Plus we get to see Robin gently stroking his beard, which frankly I find incredibly calming. Just watch him just
yeah, just like that.
It's I know when I'm talking too long when he starts pulling it out, like so.
Nervous
tick, yeah. So yeah, that's been kind of crazy. Have you encountered any Mormons, Mr. Robin? Have you ever had the pleasure?
I have not. No. I'm trying to think. No, I really haven't. It seems very sort of. It seems more of a USA kind of religion than a UK kind of thing. But
well, it's pretty global. But yes, its origins are in the USA, and it's but it's spreading into lots of interesting places. They kind of send missionaries all over the world, and as a result, it's sort of springing up in unexpected places. But yes, I've never encountered Mormons in the UK. I've encountered Jehovah's Witnesses quite a bit here, but not Mormons.
Lots of Jehovah's Witnesses,
which is interesting.
Mormons are apparently incredibly nice people, always.
They are. They seem certainly to be on ahead of the average on that, I think. Above average niceness.
Yes.
They seem like nice people for sure. And I think it's a really interesting, it's a fascinating story of the religion and how it came about, and its history is just it's unlike almost anything else. It's with the possible exception of something like Scientology, which is even more kind of crazy, and they're kind of relatively recent religions. And I think as a recent religion, it's interesting to reflect on what that means about society, that we might still be inventing new religions, and that they're sort of springing out of ostensibly nowhere, but usually because of a charismatic individual. L. Ron Hubbard in the case of Scientology, and Joseph Smith in the case of the Mormonism, or the Church of Jesus Christ and the Latter Day Saints, and or the LDS Church, I think they say for short. But it is really interesting to see these religious narratives spring into existence from ostensibly thin air.
How old is it? It's like 200 years old.
I don't know the exact dates. Let's have a quick look. Should we Wikipedia it?
Yeah, do it. I'm gonna.
You can Wikipedia it. You can Wikipedia it and put it on screen. That's the power you have right now.
Wow. I mean, that's something amazing. Let's have a look at that.
I like this. I like the fact that it's not on me just to do this now. That's quite a comforting thing. What we may have lost in fancy overlays, we've definitely gained in. Will can just. I might as well just go and open a bottle of wine and get you to do this shit. This is fine.
Brilliant.
I got this.
Well, I mean, I've already got a beer, so if you want to jump on the wine, then go for it.
Crack on, get it going on. That's fine. Have you got the LDS website handy?
I have the Wikipedia Mormonism website.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. The Mormons are actually as I understand it, a subgroup within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I think it's called. So yeah, we're going to need to zoom all the way into that guy. There we go. Yeah, 1820s. That sounds about right. 1830s.
There we go. I wasn't far off. In fact,
yeah.
I was actually spot on.
The Latter-day Saints movement.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. 200 years. So this is essentially, kind of, I mean, within the reach of historical record, quite easily. And in fact, Joseph Smith was, as I understand it, there are records that show he was convicted and imprisoned for fraud and hucksterishness and general con artistry. And then he found Jesus, quite literally.
Interesting.
Or at least a couple of angels, and decided, and they, all kinds of crazy things were suddenly claimed. It's going to be. I'm tempted to go into it now, but I think it would be more fun to have this conversation with Yona, because he knows what he's talking about, and I probably don't. But it is a fast. I have, however, seen the Book of Mormon. Have you seen that?
Oh, yes.
The musical.
Yes, twice. In fact,
you've seen it twice. I'm very jealous.
I went back again.
It is. If anybody hasn't heard of this is Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the people behind South Park, who have basically created a stage musical version of the Book of Mormon. Well, no, let me reframe that.
Not quite.
It's a stage musical entitled The Book of Mormon, about two Mormon recruits, I think, that go out on their mission.
Yes.
And it is very, very funny.
Missionaries.
And
They're missionaries.
Yeah. It is very, very funny. And very good. And actually, one of the things that they said about it was that they didn't need to make jokes about, and they don't really, in fact, make jokes about Mormonism. They don't mock the Mormon faith. It's pretty respectful to the idea of Mormonism, I think.
I mean, it's about as respectful to it as they are to all religions, I think. I mean, but they probably go a little bit easier, I think, on Mormonism.
Well, they were on record as saying basically they didn't need to mock it. All they felt they needed to do was just explain what was, what the core belief was, and that was very much the tactic that they took with Scientology, where they did the fantastic on South Park. They did the fantastic episode, Trapped in a Closet episode, which was the one where they. Have you not seen that? Oh my gracious!
No, I have seen that. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. So in that episode is the one where they basically take it to task, take Scientology to task, but they do so by just literally animating the story of Scientology.
Yes.
And that's all they need to do, and make it, just do it straight. And it turns out that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they do quite heavily sort of push the narrative that it is a scam, by
Oh yeah.
by talking about I mean, it's not just like, look at this ridiculous story, isn't it ridiculous? It's
Well,
like also the people running it are scamming people, and they own up to it in the episode.
they don't talk about the truth. I don't think they. I mean, like, I think some of the characters react to it as in this is garbage, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, but it's a very similar trick anyway, that they ostensibly just put it out there and say that this is what people believe, and some people may disagree with it.
Exactly.
But yeah, the stage musical is fantastic. Very, very, very good.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah. So today I think I suggested that we looked at some of the Deviant Robot articles, right? And you maybe pick one and we could talk about it. And then you picked the most recent one, I think, right? Which was
I did.
What's it called? The Brain in the Vat episode.
Brain in the Vat.
Episode. I don't know what, my head is all over the place. Yes, Brain in the Vat article. You must have heard this before, I take it.
I have. I have definitely heard of this concept before. I also like how it sort of, it can lead on to artificial intelligence and where we're going with that kind of stuff. I think they're kind of, I feel like in the future, those two things are going to be quite heavily linked with each other. Is if we get to a point where you are able to live outside of your own body, that's going to be quite heavily linked to quite powerful artificial intelligence as well. So I think there's a whole sort of futurology thing in that article. I know the point of the article is not that. It's like, what is the concept of reality? I understand that. But like, I also like looking at it from a sort of futurology perspective, which is, where could we see this happening, and what will the ramifications of that be, where you can just be a disembodied brain attached to a machine and still live out a life, that you would normally, which is interesting.
The problem with Brain in the Vat and AI, I think one of the key challenges that the idea of Brain in the Vat, we should probably explain what it is for anybody that doesn't know, but I think the principal difficulty is what it suggests about our ability to know whether we're in a real or artificial construct of reality. And the more advanced technology gets, the smaller the differential between what we would classify as traditional human experience and artificial experience gets, I think the less certain that we could be about our own the nature of our own experiences in this moment, or indeed any moment. And effectively, the Brain in the Vat is just, presumes that if it's possible, then there's no reason to be certain that we're in true reality in this moment in any case. But yeah, let's break it down. So the Brain in the Vat is actually kind of a remix of an older idea. In fact, it's been a while. Plato's Cave, I think, is probably the first example of this idea of subjective and objective reality. In Plato's Cave, he kind of imagined this slightly horrific scenario where you've got people in a cave, and they've sort of been born and they've spent their whole lives growing up in this cave, and their heads are fixed such that they can't look from side to side, and they can only stare at a wall. And behind them is a fire, and the light from the fire casts shadows on the wall in front of them. And essentially, Plato points out that in this scenario, they wouldn't be able to distinguish the shadows that are being cast from them from their true selves. To them, they would be the shadows, that there would be no external three-dimensional reality other than the experiences that they're seeing on this wall being cast. And that's a bit of a headfuck anyway, not least of all as it sounds super horrific, but and it's hard to sort of imagine in this example, because it's hard to imagine that people wouldn't be able to sort of somehow get a sense of their three-dimensional surroundings in any case. But the truth is that the example, I think, as a thought experiment still holds up. It is definitely an example of this. Look, if all you've experienced is this particular set of experiences, then you're going to see them as a complete picture of reality, and it certainly isn't a complete picture of reality. And he talks about then sort of leaving, breaking free of the restraints and then leaving the cave and seeing the three-dimensional world, but then never really being sure that you've fully broken free. How can you know that now the three-dimensional space that you've lived in is the true one? And having had that experience of going from, I thought this was the world, now I understand this was the world, how could you ever trust what we consider, what we as human beings in our three-dimensional or four-dimensional spaces, basically understand to be reality? How can we ever be that confident that we're not just actually looking at shadows projected onto a wall, just much more complicated shadows, or perhaps a more complicated wall? And then later, I think Blaise Pascal refined the idea somewhat and he imagined a demon that was infinitely powerful, that had decided that against all odds, that at all costs, the demon was going to deceive you, and that he was magical and he had all the powers you could imagine. And how could he know that he was ever truly experiencing the world if this demon potentially that could exist could be constantly deceiving him about the truth? What philosophically can he ever truly know about reality if he acknowledges at least the potential existence of this demon that could be deceiving him in every moment? The reality is that there's nothing he can truly know. And towards the end here, he then this is towards the end of Descartes' cogito ergo sum. I think therefore I am as a sort of bedrock assumption about existence. It's probably the only position philosophically upon which you can stand, that you can then say, well, I at least know that. But that's not that great either, for reasons we can go into. Nietzsche points out that there's a needless importing of I think, in that sentence. You've essentially philosophically what we refer to as begging the question, which is weird. So just if anybody's ever confused about that, it's worth probably clarifying. Most people will say it begs the question. When they say that, use that expression, they mostly mean this is a question that is obviously going to follow from what you've just said. So if I said, I've just been hit by lightning, it would beg the question, are you all right? Or something like that, right? Like, or I don't know, my trousers just got burst into flames, and it begs the question, or what the fuck were you doing? That's not really the logical fallacy of begging the question is not in that form. That's not the form of the actual fallacy. The fallacious form is essentially asserting the thing that you're trying to prove. So I'm trying to think of an example here, and I probably can't on the fly very easily, but something essentially of the nature that if you want to prove the existence of I in Descartes' I think therefore I am, and the thing you're trying to prove is I, you can't assert that I is thinking something, therefore I exists, because essentially you assumed that I is thinking something. You've assumed the thing that your statement is trying to prove. And in this case, you've assumed I is thinking, and then you've used that to prove that therefore there must be an I. And you can't do that because it doesn't prove the I is not, can't be in both parts of your thinking, your solipsism, your synergy. What's the word I'm looking for a logically constructed argument? Syllogism. Thank you.
There we go.
I got it. You can't import the thing you're trying to prove. So yeah, that's Descartes and his demon, and then later it was refined by, I think it was a female. I think am I right? And it was a female computer scientist who came up. A lady whose name, maybe not, maybe. Oh no, Gilbert Harman. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. Yeah, but basically updated it for the modern generation and basically invented the Matrix movies before the Wachowski brothers did, and said, look, and actually I think the Brain in the Vat's a much more interesting example, right? It's actually much cleverer than it first seems. In some senses, you could just say, you've just swapped out Descartes' daemon or daemon for a computer. So you've gone from, wooey, mythical something to something more future sounding. So maybe that's just like an updating it for the more modern generation. Look at you on the Heineken.
Not sponsored.
Are you doing the whenever Will speaks for 10 minutes straight without breathing in, you take a sip? Because
that's actually not a terrible. Yeah, that would be a fun drinking game.
Your liver wouldn't thank you. So yeah, superficially, the idea of the brain in a vat, like it just seems like it's updated it to make it more modern, essentially more modern relevant. But the in actual fact, it's slightly cleverer than that, I think, because and here's the example I like to use for this, which is that what you can see isn't the image that you're seeing isn't being made in your eyes. That's where the information's coming from, but it's not where the picture is. The picture doesn't exist in your eyes. It's from the perspective of your eyes. If you point to your eye, like that's where you're pointing, but that's not where the image is. The image is being constructed in your brain. In fact, towards the back of the brain, your visual cortex is sitting there generating this experience of seeing something. And it does that based on electrical information sent through the optic nerve from your eye and basically builds the picture from that information.
Yeah.
So the screen of your mind's eye, as it were, and let's not go into aphantasia again, but the screen is essentially generated, the experience of it is generated in the back of your brain.
Yeah.
And the only reason that part of your brain thinks it's seeing something is that it's learned to interpret the electrical impulses from your optic nerve and construct a visual representation of them in your brain.
Right.
So basically, it's like plugging a camera, like via a USB port, right, into your computer.
Yeah.
On its own, the camera is not doing anything. You plug it into a USB port, and then not much is happening until you run some software that interprets those electrical signals coming through that USB port, and turns it into an image. If you pull out the cable and look down it, you wouldn't see any light coming through the cable.
No.
It's just electrical signals.
Yeah.
And there needs to be some interpretive software that's running to essentially take those signals and build a picture.
Of course, right? And that brings us to the point that if you interrupted that signal and inserted a duplicate signal but with different data into it that wasn't from the camera itself, then you could fool the brain into thinking that that's what it was seeing.
That's exactly right. And then so the weird thing about the brain in the vat, and the thing that makes it clever, is not just that you could be, maybe some evil alien has sliced open your head, taken your brain out last night when you were asleep in a very quick and clever way so you didn't notice, plopped it into a vat where you've got essentially your brain's full of nutrients essentially, and then connected lots of wires all over your brain, and is feeding artificial signals into your brain, such that you now have the illusion of having woken up the next day and going about your normal day. But you're now essentially responding to a simulation of the world, not a real world. And the interesting thing about that is that feels kind of scary in a way. That's the Matrix, right? And you sort of intuitively feel that you'd be able to tell, that you'd know. The fun thing about the brain in the vat example is that actually you are a brain in a vat. You are a brain sat in liquid inside of a vat, or instead of a vat, it's essentially a skull. Your brain has no direct access to the outside world now, nor would it do if it was in the vat. The difference is, the only thing that's really different is where you think the information that your brain is being stimulated by originates. You think it originates in something external to you, which is the outside world. But in reality, you can't know that.
No.
It's and then the Matrix basically takes that and plays on the, let's prove you couldn't have known that.
Yeah.
Let's imagine a scenario. The Matrix imagines a world so fantastical that Keanu Reeves has an acting career. That was the bold future that the Matrix, the Wachowski brothers, and now Wachowski sisters, were bold enough to imagine a future where, you know, Keanu Reeves.
He was doing all right before the Matrix, wasn't he?
Name 4 great Keanu Reeves movies. And you can have both the 2 Bill and Ted ones to start with, if that helps. You're then going to say Point Break.
Yeah.
Okay. And then here's the thing: name a 4th.
Yeah. Don't know.
Devil's Advocate.
Well, actually,
Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go with this? There's loads of places you can go. He made a lot of movies.
He did make a lot of movies. That's the thing. But I don't think I've seen any of them before the Matrix, apart from those first 3 that you mentioned.
You did well.
Well, this is why I was like, he was doing all right. I'm just not very good with movies, so I probably wouldn't have seen any of them. I'll tell you a little fun fact about Keanu Reeves, though. In the movie Heat, he was meant to be in that film in the place
I was going to say, he's not in there.
No.
Val
he was
Kilmer.
meant to be in that film in the place of Val Kilmer, yeah. That was originally cast for him, but he couldn't do it because he was going to do a stage show, I feel. He was going to do a theatre production.
You know what? Val Kilmer was pretty good in that movie, though. I quite liked Val Kilmer in that movie. I thought he took care of business. It was good.
It would have been worse with...
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, I think.
Val Kilmer kind of underplayed it a little bit, which is not Val Kilmer's normal way. It was pretty well. Yeah, I like that movie. It was a good movie. A remake of it was almost shot for shot in places of a movie called L.A. Takedown, which I would recommend. It's pretty good. But then at the very end, it changes a little bit. The story diverges, and L.A. Takedown's pretty good as well. But yeah, it's a direct remake of that movie, L.A. Takedown. Yeah.
So back to where we were before. Imagine a world where Keanu Reeves' career is somewhat better than it actually was. I mean,
well, we're apparently living in an even less realistic universe, which is the one where apparently after the Matrix sequels, they decided what they really need to do is another Matrix sequel. So there is going to be a 4th Matrix movie.
There is.
It's out soon, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely this year, but I don't know when exactly.
Well, it must be soon then, because there isn't much of this year left.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Matrix 4. When are you coming out? Matrix 4.
I'm worried about it, to be quite honest, but hopefully it's good.
Matrix 4. Should we watch the trailer?
We can. Yeah, we can test things out.
Let's have a go at watching the trailer. All right, I'm going to watch this. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can get this to work. This is where we find out. This is a Rickroll video.
Can you imagine?
Okay, I've just skipped ahead a little bit to see if it's... Right, cool. Let's watch the trailer together. Okay, so what do? I'm going to go ahead and add to stream. Here we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out. All right, so this is the Matrix 4 trailer. Already, there's far too many colors in this for it to be a...
It is colorful, isn't it?
It's like daytime. Was daytime even a thing in the original Matrix movies? I don't remember there being a... Oh, no, there was. There was a
the
scene...
simulation bits at the beginning were in daytime.
Yeah, and there was the scene at the very beginning where he goes to work, right? That was kind of
the whole siege of the... Not siege, but the infiltration of the corporate offices to try and rescue Morpheus was in daytime as well.
Yeah. It just felt like...
It felt everything was at night. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Matrix 4. Let us know if you can hear this. Hopefully you guys can hear this in chat. I suspect you can. Can you hear it on stream room?
I cannot. No.
You can't hear it?
Nope. Still can't hear that.
Let me give that another swing. Swing and a miss. All right, this is what happens. We get to you. No audio. Thank you, Sleepy. How are you today, Sleepy? Are you well? We'll get this figured out for you in just a second.
It worked last time.
Yeah, we got this.
There we go.
Thomas?
It does this weird, like...
You seem particularly triggered right now. Can you tell me what happened?
Maybe if we do this one?
Just dreams.
A bit better.
That's good though. Oh, Neil Patrick Harris.
Am I crazy?
Yes.
Is that Neil Patrick Harris? Oh, it is.
It is.
Word in here.
Nice. God, he looks old.
He does look
Yeah,
old,
it was
doesn't
a
he?
long time ago. Keanu Reeves, dude, he's just not even trying not to look like John Wick. Like, he's just John Wick now.
Yeah.
If I cut it just then, you'd be like, oh, John Wick movie.
Yep.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small, and the ones that
Good music choice.
mother gives
Yeah.
you
I love this track.
don't do anything at all. Go
White Rabbit by...
when she's 10 feet.
Oh, is that like a young Oracle? That was well cast.
Time to fly.
Yeah, did Morpheus die?
No, I don't think so. But this is a prequel.
You know what? It was his career that nearly died. That's what
Lawrence Fishburne's
Poor
career.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh.
Oh, it's only one of the Wachowski sisters?
Yes, yeah, both of them are not in it. I mean, not
If you want the
directing it.
truth, Neo, you're going to have to follow me.
It feels like
The
a
only thing that matters to you is still here.
remake.
I know it's why you're still fighting. Why you will never
Bit.
give up.
That's not Lawrence Fishburne.
know me.
No, he's not in it.
Oh. Have they replaced him? Or is that just another...
No, it's because they're doing a prequel kind of thing. It's meant to be before the events of the first one, I think.
Okay.
Well, it's
No,
a
it's
mixture.
not. No,
well,
it's
it's like a
definitely
mixture,
not.
I think. I think it's like
I
a
think it's a
mixture
reboot.
because he kind of goes back in time and meets Morpheus before.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I don't know.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Well, I guess it... Does it make sense? Wait, did any of it make sense?
I mean, not much of the trailer
Not
makes
really,
sense.
not much.
I mean, it looks cool. Like, it looks
all
very
these things,
shooty bang
We're going
bang,
back
which
to
looks
where
fun.
it started. Back to the Matrix.
You know, it's a real shame that the thing that I liked the most about that trailer was the color grading. That
I'm not
cannot be a good
sure.
sign. That cannot be a good sign. Yeah, I can't. I don't think I can care about it. I just don't. Life is soup. I'm a fork. Good job, Sleepy. I can't get excited about that, even remotely. Like, I remember watching the first Matrix movie, coming out of that movie, thinking like, oh my god, that is so amazing. Like, it's basically a William Gibson movie. Have you ever read Neuromancer?
I have not, no.
It's a weird book. It's a good book. It's very good. William Gibson is basically the father of cyberpunk. Essentially, he coined. In fact, it was in the book Neuromancer that the term internet was coined.
Right, yep.
And he basically constructed a lot of the now sort of cyber culture narratives and that we sort of are very used to. So Neuromancer was basically this huge, the Matrix is basically Neuromancer, like girls with dark glasses and long leather coats and kung fu fights and hacking, and the story is very different, but the core principles are definitely Neuromancer. I remember thinking when I saw the movie, I was like, oh my god, why has nobody made a Neuromancer movie like that? And this looks like it's that. So like, this seems like a no-brainer when I saw the trailer for it. And then I watched the movie and I was like, how did that not fail my expectations? Because my expectations were way too high when I went into that movie and came out thinking the first Matrix movie, just thinking, oh my god, you ever get this feeling? This is such a weird and maybe slightly I mean, it's probably just a very personal thing that I do. Maybe, I don't know, but like, do you ever do this thing where you think, "Oh man, I hope I don't die before I get to see the sequel to that movie," or like, "Oh, I really hope I don't die before that game comes out." It's such a dumb way to think, but I remember thinking that. I was like, "Oh man, I can't believe how amazing that was," and I'm so excited to see the sequel. And then I remember going to see the sequel, and I've never felt so miserably disappointed in anything. It was so bad.
Yeah, really bad.
Oh, bad,
disgustingly bad. Yeah.
And then the third sequel, which I think I actually didn't even go to the cinema to watch. I hated the second one so much. Yeah. I watched it, I think, on maybe even VHS or like DVD for sure.
Wow.
And
really showing off like, that VFX.
Yeah. I was like, they ain't going to save this movie, right? They're like, I'm sure they all look very pretty, but no.
To be fair, the VFX probably looks better on 240p or whatever VHS is, because they looked bad in the second one. I thought, like, it didn't look good.
Could well, yeah. I didn't. It doesn't date well, right? Like the 2 years later, you'll have regretted everything you just did in your VFX budget, you know, and because it will look like Kinder Toys, you know, in comparison. And this is the problem. They spent an absolute fortune on the Matrix 2 and 3. I remember them being the highest grossing movies of all time, the highest budgeted movies of all time. They were extremely expensive on the back of the original movie, and they really lent into the need for those elaborate sort of ballet set pieces.
Yeah.
But there was just not enough artistry that went on in them. The very expensive chase sequence on the highway.
Oh yeah.
Was extremely expensive and just boring to watch.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't.
It was boring. And the thing about John Wick, I mean, you can go on about Keanu Reeves all you like, but John Wick is not boring. You know, John Wick's movies, they might lack a bit in plot, and they might be a bit repetitive, but they're certainly not boring action movies to watch. And yet, it's the same stunt coordinator from the Matrix movie.
Right. I mean, they're tense. They've got tension in them because you don't really feel like. Well, I always found with the second and the third Matrix film is that you felt like Neo was now basically invincible. So where was the tension? Where was the conflict? You felt like he could just take over the whole everybody.
They needed to address that, and they didn't. Or they did the Dungeons and Dragons solution, which is they just sort of made everybody else more powerful somehow for reasons. You know, I think he even actually says in the beginning of the second movie, where he starts to fight some of the agents, the new agents, and they start fighting back again, and he says something like upgrades.
Right.
And that's it. That's the whole of the explanation. Oh, the Matrix upgraded the agents to cope with Neo now.
Exactly.
The film can happen.
Yeah. MacGuffin.
Just so lazy writing. I mean, Neo himself is a MacGuffin, right? The character's a MacGuffin. Of course. Like, and it's a shame when your MacGuffin is also a Deus Ex Machina and also your primary character. Those are three things that shouldn't really. I mean, I don't know how you can have a primary character be a Deus Ex Machina, but like he totally was. Yeah, such a weird set of films. I sort of feel like we're through the looking glass on this episode. In any case, so I really want to do the Ghostbusters trailer.
It's trailer cast.
Yeah, but this has made me super excited, and I'm so happy about it. I'm so happy about it. Here we go. Let me hit the old screeneroo. Oh, how do we put this on the screen? Oh, here we go. Whoop, whoop,
there we go.
Oh, we got rid of Roman. So this is Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I don't know.
Look at the colors.
Yeah,
so
it does look
pretty.
good.
She really keeps me on the outside.
That's normal. She's an awkward, nerdy kid.
Maybe a new home can be an opportunity to start fresh.
Oh, this isn't the trailer I saw.
Get into some
Oh,
trouble.
really?
They're still
No.
timing.
I saw a different one.
It looks old.
What are you
Does.
doing here in Somerville anyway?
We're completely broke, and our grandfather left us this creepy old farmhouse in the middle of nowhere.
Your father wasn't much of a homemaker.
He could hardly keep the power on.
Oh.
You're saying he left us nothing?
Yeah.
Well,
I think Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray also teased in this trailer.
You went with the station wagon?
It's the only one that had an engine.
There's no way that car sounds like that. What did that wrench do under the hood of that car?
Somehow.
You'd be surprised. Old American cars with V8s in them sound pretty throaty.
Maybe it's the apocalypse.
Did you see that? That was a visual effect that didn't look like vomit.
Here for a reason.
Yeah.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night?
Do you experience feelings of dread in your basement or attic?
Have you or any of your family ever seen a spook, specter, or ghost?
Oh my god.
You guys hear that?
Something's coming.
That was definitely Goes of the Destructor, right? Or whatever the one.
Yeah.
The naked girl from Rodriguez.
Yep.
The dog.
Oh, new tech. But new old tech in a way.
New old tech.
Yeah.
We're ready to believe you.
Yeah. You know that's done.
Close.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Ah, it's so good.
Yeah, that looks good.
I'm super excited about that. I really, really hope that's going to be. I mean, it's going to. Oop, what am I doing? Ooh, hello.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. That's exactly the sort of vibes I wanted from the previous. Oh wow, what's this?
Oh,
I remember the sound.
playing another thing.
Random. Can you hear that?
I could hear that. Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. So it's playing the audio. Oh, because it's not actually been removed from the scene. Oh, that's
There we go.
Oh my god, it's so lucky I didn't load up that porn movie I was going to watch right now. Good to know. Yeah, no, honestly, that's pretty awesome. I'm genuinely quite excited about that. I think it could be a good movie. Where were we? Brain in a vat.
Brain in a vat. That's where we were.
Can we drag it back to Brain in the Vat?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we can go somewhere with the Brain in the Vat. I think
sure.
As a thought about the concept of reality, I think, yeah, that's the sort of beginning of it. But then what does actually happen when we start to get the technology together to actually allow this to happen, where someone can live outside of their body in a vat and work in the real world, or maybe even in a simulated world, and people might even make the choice to do that. So where does that take us as a race?
Well, there's this. Are you familiar with simulation theory?
So that's the theory that the whole thing is already a simulation, right? That the whole universe basically is already a simulation.
Not only, yeah, and it mostly makes that move based on the idea that if there was a sufficiently advanced race that was able to properly simulate a universe, it might very well want to do that so that it could essentially predict the outcome of certain decisions and that might be made, for example. So essentially, if you had a machine that was powerful enough to properly simulate reality, and that you were able to do that sufficiently quickly, then you've got a machine that can predict the future and also predict the outcome of possible futures, essentially, as well. Yeah. And it would likely do that by running infinite simulations, essentially.
Machine learning.
Well, it wouldn't be machine learning necessarily, but it would just be simulation, right? There's no learning component to it necessarily, but the thing about that is that given that it's likely that if it's possible in any case, therefore it's likely that there will be more simulated universes than there are real universes. So there would only be one real universe and potentially almost infinite numbers of simulations, especially as the software may very well test out different scenarios by tweaking values and running these things. And therefore, given that there are more likely simulated universes than real ones, it's more likely, therefore, that we're living in a simulated one. There's a very interesting, weird book called, it's part of a series called the Bobiverse. The Bobiverse.
Ha!
Have you heard of this?
I haven't, no.
It's something. So there's a thing called a von Neumann probe. Have you heard of a von Neumann probe? You might have heard of this.
Is that a sort of self-aware probe whose only job is to be a probe? It's sort of a self-aware being, either AI or organic, that gets loaded into a spacecraft, basically, and is the spacecraft.
Yeah, well, so fundamentally, it's about trying to work out how can we solve the problem of mapping the known universe, right? Because it's infinitely big, right? So, what essentially it tries to do is create it essentially creates a self-replicating probe. So the job of this probe would essentially have a few different operations. One would be to map its immediate territory and report back information back. The second thing it would need to do is be able to land on a planet or meteors or whatever, like not meteors, asteroids or what have you, harvest resources and build copies of itself, which it could then send out into the universe. And essentially it's almost mapping the universe by creating this self-replicating probe that's job is to make copies of itself, send information back, relaying information between themselves, and essentially continuously replicating until, because the numbers get incredibly big. If it's that thing about the old parable about the guy who invented chess being rewarded by having 1 grain of rice multiplied by the number of squares on a chessboard.
Right.
As his reward for inventing chess. So it goes 1, 2, 4, etc., 8, 16, 32, etc. And it keeps going up 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024. And then essentially at that point you're thinking, well, this isn't going to be very much rice. But then of course the exponential growth curve means that before you're even halfway across the board, you've got more rice than there is in the known universe, right? You've got just incredible amounts of rice. And this is usually used as an example of humans not understanding exponential growth, essentially. And so the idea is that if you had a self-replicating probe that would go off into the universe, it would do this. Anyway, the book is called We Are Legion, We Are Bob. And it's a kind of silly sci-fi story about a human consciousness that's placed inside a probe of this sort. And the idea is that it basically gets fired off into space, and the whole book reads like a video game that you're not playing, almost. It's kind of a bit odd. It's definitely seems heavily inspired from the world of video games. At some points it's an RPG, at some points it's a turn-based strategy. It's sort of weird. But one of the things that's quite interesting about the way the book is framed is that it plays around with reference frames. And by saying that at one point the Bob probe essentially finds out that he can increase his processor cycles. And if he increases his processor cycles, that's the boy. If he increases his processing cycles, he effectively increases his ability to process information and therefore effectively slows down time. He's now got more time to make decisions. And actually, if he increases them incredibly high, he's able to essentially pause time and have infinity to think about a problem before he starts to solve it, before he decides what he needs to do. And similarly, he can slow down his processing cycle. So effectively, it speeds up time for him.
Yeah.
So by manipulating the speed in which he's thinking, he's controlling the flow of time, which is super interesting.
That's very interesting, yeah. That is a very video game kind of thing, because when you think about... lots of video games are still made where the passage of time is directly linked to the frame rate of the video game, which is essentially the sort of clock rate. So in some of the older games, when you play them, on newer hardware, the game runs really, really fast because it's running at an uncapped frame rate. So yeah, that's an interesting concept.
So
I like
in
that very
video
much.
games, you have to always multiply your tick rate by delta t, or your tick event by delta t.
Yes.
Delta t is the difference between different frame intervals in your game engine, so that you know how much time has actually passed, rather than rely on the frame rate. And yeah, absolutely, if games didn't do that, the faster the clock speed, the faster the game was run. And you could take advantage of it. My first ever PC was this old ass PC that had it was a 486 DX266.
Nice.
But
Jealous.
it basically ran at 32 or 33. No, yeah, 33.
Mm-hmm.
So it would run at 33. And there was this button on the front that you could press to make it go into turbo mode. Which basically unlocked the full 66 hertz. But the reason that button was there is because a lot of software was relying upon the thing that this thing could only run at 33. So the software wouldn't play correctly. So if you were playing a video game, for example, that was dependent upon the clock speed, at 33 it was perfectly playable, but you put it into 66 and the whole game ran twice as fast, and it was kind of insane to control.
Theme Park did that. The original Theme Park. Can you believe that Demis Hassabis, the huge AI genius that he is now, coded a game where it was the speed of the game was inextricably linked to the frame rate? That's hilarious.
Well, I mean, it was probably a pragmatic decision as much as anything else back then.
Probably was, yeah.
But yeah, it is funny. I do think it's a mistake that more modern PCs aren't built with turbo buttons. Or I'd like a sort of turbo lever that you could sort of push forward into turbo mode, on occasion when I just felt the need for extra turbo.
That would make overclocking incredibly satisfying, wouldn't it?
I mean, most of my research conducted as a small child in the 80s told me that more things would have turbo buttons when I got older, but they don't seem to.
No, turbo was a very popular word in the 80s, wasn't it?
Turbo everything.
I think it was Saab, wasn't it, that popularized the word turbo? The car manufacturer Saab. I think so. They were the first one to put it on a car because I think they had the first. Yeah, they were the first sort of the popularized turbocharged engines, and they used to write turbo on the back of their cars and on the side of their cars. And then after that, it became very, very popular.
Are you thinking of the Knight Foundation?
The Knight Foundation? No.
Who were the manufacturers, I believe, of kit? From the excellent Knight Rider documentary that I saw.
Hang on, was there a turbo button in that, or was it boost?
It was turbo boost, maybe.
Maybe it was turbo boost.
It was brilliant. There was Knight Rider and then Street Hawk. Did you ever see Street Hawk?
No, I didn't ever see Street Hawk.
Street Hawk was basically if Knight Rider was a motorbike, but it didn't talk.
Oh, really? That's rubbish.
Yeah, no, it really was. And then there was obviously Airwolf, which is the best of the best. I mean, Airwolf was fantastic.
Absolutely
fantastic. I really didn't care about what happened in Airwolf because basically at some point there would be a needless need to go and get Airwolf out because somebody's captured the hot new girl's daughter or something, or father, and they have to go and rescue him. And enough they'd go to rescue him, and then, oh, hello, Siri. And they'd needlessly need to get Airwolf out, who would then spend 2 minutes very slowly strafing something and then fly back. But it didn't matter because that fucking music was amazing.
Yep. And being chased badly by another shitty helicopter. Yeah.
Do you know the name of the lead character in Airwolf?
I have completely forgotten.
How could you forget this name? This name was poetry. It's an ode to the, what was it, 90s? It must have been.
Yeah.
Do you not remember the opening credits as the camera pans across the lake and that he's sitting there playing a cello by the side of next to his lake house, just to show that he has culture? And his name was, I'm glad you're sitting down because this comes as a shock to people, St. John Hawk.
St. John Hawk.
St. John
Hawk. I'd forgotten that first name. Hawk rings a bell.
That's right up there with remembering that Arnold Schwarzenegger's character from Commando. Do you remember his name?
Oh man, forgotten.
John Matrix.
That's it, John Matrix. I knew that.
I knew that. St. John Hawk and John Matrix. Fantastic. Thanks, 80s and early 90s. You've
Absolutely
nailed it
fantastic.
in the naming department.
Did you ever watch Thunder in Paradise?
Oh, yeah, that was another helicopter one, wasn't it?
No,
was it a
that was a speedboat.
Oh, it was a speedboat.
With Hulk Hogan.
Was I thinking of Blue Thunder? There was another helicopter one called Blue Thunder, I believe.
Oh,
maybe that was a movie. Yes, Thunder in Paradise with Hulk Hogan. Could that boat talk to you? I don't think it could it? It was just a really fast boat, right?
It was just a really fast, kick-ass, tough boat, I think. And there was always like an inlet or a fjord or like a canal.
Oh no!
Conveniently in the right place.
Help us! The communists are invading. They're putting communist literature all over the campus. I don't see how we can help with this with speedboat-based tactics. That's just not. There's nothing we can do. My cat's
hang on.
Tree. How would a speedboat get over?
There's a canal next to the university.
We've got this. Oh man, yeah, Thunder in Paradise. That was kind of later in the game. It was probably the last time they tried that. Right, that whole vehicle-based.
Oh yeah.
The whole concept of the show is, what if they had a vehicle that was like
pretty much
like cool? There was another one around that same sort of time, which was like computer based. There was a guy. Fuck, I can't remember what this one was called, but basically it was a guy that was like a computer. It was like Tron. He was like a Tron guy that could be summoned. Like there was some nerdy, geeky research scientist guy who accidentally tripped over a vat of, I don't know, radioactive waste, and it spilled into his computer and it all went chaos. And all of a sudden, Computer Man was brought into the real world. And he had a little sidekick called Pixel that could draw the cursor that would draw his like light car in the real world, and then to get in and drive it. And occasionally, if the budget would allow, it would draw other vehicles that he could then fly around in, which were basically just normal vehicles with needless bits of LED, not LEDs, because it was like pre-LEDs for like some lighting rig attached to it in some way.
Neon lights.
Like sort of neon lights, yeah. I can't imagine they were actually neon lights, but yes, or maybe it was just all done post-prod, but that was pretty bad.
I don't remember that at all.
It was pretty forgettable.
Yeah, sounds it.
It was called Tomorrow Man or something. Like
Tomorrow Man.
I'm gonna just go ahead and TV show something like that. Like the guy was
the
like
Tomorrow Man.
The Tomorrow Man could be.
Oh no, hang on. 1976. You're showing your age. Tomorrow Man.
Is that it? The Tomorrow Man?
No, there's a TV movie called The Tomorrow Man, and then there's this one which is Tomorrow Man. Technophobe Regan is initially. Oh, I should just put this up on the thing. There you go. Is it this?
No,
it's not that. Okay. Oh man.
This is the Google.
Then there's this.
They were basic. Oh, that could be it. Wait, what's that?
The Tomorrow Man. It's a made-for-TV movie.
No, he's an android. No. Here we go. Auto Man.
Auto Man.
Yeah, here we go. We got this. Thanks, Google, for taking my almost random sequence of characters and determining that I'm not crazy. Here we go. Oh, I'm trying to share your screen. Can I make you share your screen? Oh, I can. That's interesting.
Yeah, there we go.
I won't.
I mean, Auto Man is up there if you want to just hit the button.
It's okay. I got this.
You're going to take control of your own destiny.
Yeah, sad how unusual that feels. See, this guy was Auto Man. He's the guy. Look at the effects on that guy. Look at the haircut. The haircut is somehow more artificial than the glowing blue body. And look, what is that going on with that smile? What is that? Here's the thing that's interesting. This guy here, not actually a Muppet. That's not a Jim Henson character. True story.
Shocking.
Cancellation due to just self-evident terribleness. Automan was put in the difficult Monday 8 p.m. slot. Is that the reason? Is that the reason? I think it might be because it was terrible. But he did have a cool... Oh, God, it had 12 episodes. I can't believe it. Yeah, Automan. What a stupid bloody name.
Wow, but they made 13. They just didn't even bother doing the last 13, the 13.
Wow.
Like,
there's one I haven't seen. That's amazing. Something out there too.
Disney made it, so that might mean it ends up on Disney Plus at some point.
Certainly explains the Jim Henson fucking face and the haircuts. That is Brilliant. A proper Disney Prince haircut. I mean, goddamn.
Oh, it's funny. So you talked about Blue Thunder. There is. You're absolutely right. There is a helicopter series called Blue Thunder, starring James Farentino.
So I think that one started out as a movie. And that was another classic movie. The problem is with most of these helicopter-based movies is watching helicopters fly around isn't actually that exciting after the first 2 or 3 minutes.
It's not.
And I think in Blue Thunder, their big thing was at the end. The climax was that the helicopter had to do a 180-degree flip. I think that was its climax moment.
Oh, what, like
a
loop-de-loop?
They can't. Yeah, which they'd not been able to do at that point. It's only relatively recently that they've been able to get the trick of it to flip over, and it's basically controlled stalling with some inertia, essentially, and then getting the thing to start back up again.
Yeah, because that is not how helicopters work. It's going upside down. Really,
they're really not keen on being upside down. That's just not how they want to be.
No, not at all.
So yeah, that was the thing. It's like, can he do it? And he's like pulling it, and the whole thing it flips over, and it literally is like upside down for a few seconds, yet magically somehow staying in the air, and not as it would be in real life, pulling itself down. That's Street Hawk right there. Oh my god. There's Automan. Yeah.
Automan, Airwolf,
Blue Thunder, and Airwolf. That is a poster and a half for Airwolf. That's amazing.
Yep.
Fall Guys. That's the one that's
the Fall Guy.
The stunt guys, yeah. The Fall Guy. He was like a stunt guy who basically that was pretty good, that show, actually, the Fall Guy.
I remember Manimal. Do you remember Manimal?
No, I don't remember Manimal. I've heard of it.
This face changing into an animal thing they used to do that at least once an episode, obviously. So yeah. That was pretty nuts.
One might even say exactly once an episode.
Yeah. Oh man, there was a lot of experimental and sort of formulaic,
really
television
nonsense. Yeah. There was one where there was an astronaut that was in space, and he stared at the sun too long and got superpowers from that, which were basically
from staring at the sun for too long.
Which is a great message to send to kids, is it not?
I was gonna say, did that
I shit you not.
Did that precede an entire generation of blind children?
I shit you not, right? So the idea of this is that now I think about it, this is so fucking bad. So basically, when he had to wear his sunglasses all the time, otherwise he'd die, right? And if he took his sunglasses off, he went into green mode. When he was in green mode, his eyes would go green. And he was super smart and able to solve like incredibly complicated math problems, and he was the world's super genius. But then if he carried on leaving them off and looked at the sun a little bit longer, they'd go yellow. And when he was in yellow mode, he was like super strong and able to do like incredible athletic. But if he didn't stop quickly enough, he'd go into red mode, where his skin would start pulsating and his face would start to pulsate like he was going to burst.
What show is this?
You're really dragging these memories out of me. Oh, let me find it.
I feel like there has to be. We have to find that. That sounds amazing.
Spaceman looks at sun superpower.
Superhero TV show.
North Star. Oh my god.
Oh wow, you found it.
Is scary good. I literally typed in Spaceman looks at sun superpower TV show and it fucking found it. North Star. That's exactly it. Holy shit. Have you got it?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the one.
An astronaut's ship passes through a strange magnetic field on its way back to Earth, and when he emerges from it after landing, he
there's
finds he
definitely
has
a sequence
acquired
where
superhuman powers and super genius IQ.
that's really weird because he actually stares at the sun. That's what does it. There's like a solar flare.
Right.
And he stares at it. So I'm wondering if they've retconned that like description of it.
Maybe.
Is it like a movie? Because I think it was a movie that they were trying to flip into a TV show. This is it. This is the okay, I don't know if you can see this, but this is good. But there's a genuine content warning, not genuine, but like semi-genuine content warning because it's pretty fucking horrific right here.
You
add to stream? I wanna change what I'm streaming right now. Edit this guy. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. You ever get these moments where you just like flustered with technology for a moment and you think, Christ, I'm turning into my parents, like not in a good way. Look at that, right? So that's him getting the superpowers. That's him. that's the effect that they had, and then it would basically turn a different color when he'd go space eyes.
Right? Is that him sucking in the solar flare juice?
That's him getting the space magics so that he can
space magic.
He can go into genius mode and then beast mode.
Amazing. I would have watched that.
It was so bad. Space magics. I love it. There we go. Space magics. Exactly that. My wanking life. That's a fucking amazing name.
It's not wanking. It's my waking life. Oh, that is fantastic. You should change it. Oh my goodness. Yep. Oh God. I think you've just well, I was gonna say you haven't killed Will. Will's killed himself.
I'm so sorry.
Goodness.
Oh my waking life. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I just. Genuine pro streamer right here. That is fantastic. Oh, yeah. Good thing is nobody's going to clip that and put that on somewhere, and so that's good. Anywho,
I mean, if that name got through like Twitch,
that's what I thought. My waking life. I'm so sorry. That was a fresh kind of terrible on my part. Oh my gracious.
Oh, please do try and change your name to that.
Don't. God, they're getting banned. Not only am I raucously mispronouncing his name, now you're going to get him banned. Right. Anywho, if anybody in chat, by the way, has any great sci-fi movie recommendations, it turns out this is a sci-fi movie podcast show at this point. Podcast? I don't even know what we're doing today.
It is, yeah. Well, it kind of started with the brain in the box thing, and I think that brain in the vat thing, and that has an awful lot of sci-fi sort of what's the word? Mileage.
Yeah,
mileage.
Sure.
I think you can go a long way with that and that concept.
So there's a similar concept which is quite interesting, actually, in a movie called Strange Days. Have you ever seen Strange Days?
I have not. No.
It's mostly another one of these sort of like William Gibson movie type thing, cyberpunk, but it was not very popular. And one of the reasons why I love it is that the end sequence has Skunk and Nancy playing in the crowd. And I'm like, why are they there? How is this happening? It's a super good movie, actually. And the premise, not least of all because Ralph Fiennes, right? But one of the really cool things about this is that the premise Oh, just like Cloverfield movies, I'm not much of a movie buff. No worries. I've not seen the new Cloverfield movies. I've saw the original Cloverfield, right, which is the Godzilla shaky cam movie. I saw that, but I haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane or the other sequel that came out, I think, on Netflix that they did, the Cloverfield Project or something, or whatever it was called.
Oh, was that a series though? I think
no, it was a movie.
Film.
I think, yeah. Paradox. Gotcha. The Cloverfield Paradox or just Paradox?
I think it was the Cloverfield Paradox.
Cloverfield Paradox. Yeah. Gotcha. So Strange Days, and this is why this correlates with Brain in the Vat quite nicely, actually. So in Strange Days, they have this ability to, you wear a squid on your head, which is this electrical device. And the idea is that it records all of your experience, essentially.
Right.
It basically records how you feel, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, everything. And so it records all the sensory input. And then you can record it to a tape deck, ideally. And then essentially what you can do is you can play it again later if you want to. Like watching a movie, but full sensory movie. But you could also potentially give it to somebody else, and then they could watch the whole thing play out from your perspective, essentially. And this guy is basically a sort of private eye guy, and he's hired to try to hunt down some really unpleasant snuff movies that have been created with this thing on.
I feel like I might have seen this.
So the story is actually very similar to a Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex episode.
Right.
Very strong correlation. It's a good movie, and kind of underrated, I think. And it's really interesting because it does an awful lot about it's the same thing about how much can we trust our experiences, and what would it mean to society if we could record these things and play them back. I mean, I think one of the things that would be kind of amazing would be it would probably show us how completely incompatible our sensory experiences were with each other. Because I don't think anything like this could ever work.
Well, why? What do you mean?
Okay,
as in, why wouldn't it work? What do you think? We'd like lose our? It'd send us insane. You know, like what would be the thing that would be the problem?
So, I think I've spoken before. So there's this idea of somebody who had a problem with their eye, essentially, which made they couldn't see.
Yeah.
But their optic nerve was perfectly fine.
Right.
And so what they can do now is they can take the optic nerve and essentially connect it to a computer and connect the camera to the computer and essentially feed in visual signals into the optic nerve through the computer.
Right, yeah.
And this allows the person to get some visual information, essentially. The brain learns to adapt to understand the new visual signal that's coming through. That kind of thing you could do. Because one of the first things I ever thought about the moment I read this, I think it was in New Scientist, this article, it was many years ago that was talking about them doing this for the first time. One of the things that was really interesting was that it made me immediately think, well, at the point after, like, your brain is connecting, the optic nerve is connecting to the computer, but that's the magic science, right? But after that point, it's very familiar science, right?
Yeah.
That we can just connect it to any old camera and feed in an input, right?
Yeah.
And the computer's doing the translation of the visual image data coming from the camera into the signal going into the brain. So I was like, well, you could just plug an HDMI port into that, and then what would happen if you played a movie instead of had a live camera feed? I mean, there's nothing uniquely special about it being a live camera feed, well, except for, you know, in relation to your relationship to it. But you could be watching Reservoir Dogs like as if I mean, it wouldn't
that
be
was your vision.
As if that was your vision. It wouldn't be like on a screen in front of you. It would be somehow replacing your entire visual experience would be this movie playing in your brain.
Oh, but Yeah, but yeah, okay. So, but you wouldn't be able to move your eyes.
No, you wouldn't be able to move at all. Anywhere you looked, it wouldn't matter.
It
Wherever
wouldn't
change
look.
the references at all. Well, it probably would actually. It probably would cause. I would imagine it would cause a slight shifting because most of what you're seeing is constructed in your brain.
That's
and I
true.
imagine if you started to look, your brain would start to move the picture, even if the visual information wasn't changing.
Interesting.
Which is one of the reasons why we get motion sick in VR. Because there's a slight delay to that responsiveness.
Exactly.
And our brain is trying to make it make sense. So I slightly suspect we wouldn't be able to look around the picture, but it would probably make us nauseous, to say the least.
Yeah.
But in any case, you could theoretically feed a movie through your optic nerve and have it playing out in your brain, which would be the world's most... I mean, it just replaces TVs at that point, right? We don't need a TV.
No.
We don't need monitors. It would be like the world was a monitor, right?
Yeah. Do you think that's what Facebook is trying to do with Metaverse?
Well, it's probably not dissimilar to what Gabe Newell's trying to do with his wetware technology for gaming, ostensibly, or what Elon Musk was trying to do with Neuralink, or whatever it was that he was trying to launch. This is this exact same concept. It's essentially creating ways in which you can connect your brain to some electrical device and have its inputs controlled from that electrical device rather than from the sensed organs that you think it's coming from.
Yep.
Which is all very brain in the vat. And super interesting. So the idea that you could then play back an experience is interesting. And then in the Ghost in the Shell episode, there was a sort of serial killer it was basically a cross between... This episode was very weird. It was a cross between Apocalypse Now and Strange Days, in that this guy was sort of traumatized from the war. Total Recall's a good movie. Yes, indeed. This guy was traumatized from the war and came and was murdering people in a really horrific way. I won't go into too many details, but it was pretty graphic even for that show. It was pretty graphic and very unpleasant. And he would basically connect his brain to their brain, essentially, so that they could see him doing it to them from his perspective.
Ooh. That's nasty.
There is some really weird things that suddenly, like, once we can start playing in the space of perception and reality, like, I don't know where the human race goes with it, but it's probably nowhere good.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that a little bit what there was that other Netflix show that did a little bit of that, which was oh my goodness, based on a book, was a very cyberpunky. There was a very
Carbon?
That's the one. I know. So I mean, that was changing your perspective in the sense that you could take your brain out essentially and put it in somebody else's body by removing the stack. Yeah. So like, there's a whole perspective thing there that shifts with the ability to just chop and change.
Well, they played with the nature of identity in that show. That essentially what really is you, and it's interesting. The moment that you could choose how to look, the moment it stops mattering how you look.
Yeah,
like the moment it becomes a fashion choice and not just something that's put upon you. It would be really... I mean, again, Ghost in the Shell is like way ahead on this transhumanism stuff. There are episodes in there where there's a weird sort of... He's got this kind of American cowboy voice. He's a guy who owns a robotics factory, and he chooses to have his consciousness occupy this kind of janky ass little robot with like 4 little piston legs that kind of just bounces around, and he's got this kind of weirdly affected American accent and stuff. And he says, look, he's tried lots of the latest technologies and stuff, but this is what just feels right to him. It just suits him. And what, one of the things about Ghost in the Shell, let me bring up a visual reference here.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that put me off Ghost in the Shell, because anime has its reputations, And the lead character in Ghost in the Shells, let me try and find Complex. So one of the lead characters in this game sort of basically is a female character that runs around half naked all the time, which does, definitely doesn't hurt the box art, and no doubt the related sales. But it kind of put me off, because I kept thinking, well, if that's what it's needing to do to be a good show, then I'm not sure that it's going to be a good story, essentially. And this is interesting because this is a world where all of these characters are essentially robotic in nature. So that the male and the female characters are cyborgs, and the character in the middle is a Tachikoma, is actually an AI-driven robot.
Yeah.
But the AI-driven robot has become basically sentient. In fact, there's a little collective of them, and they've basically formed their own sort of sentience. And of course, the human component of the character on the left, she's the main figure. She was what's known as a full body prosthetic, which means that essentially her brain, which is also partly cyberized in any case, that there's essentially not very much human in her, essentially. So she's much closer than most humans to being just a machine, and the robot in the middle is much closer to most robots to being human,
right?
Because its AI has this emergent property of that has allowed it to sort of become almost sentient and having a life of its own. And they talk about this concept of a ghost, and a ghost is this sort of essence of something being alive, essentially. What I guess we would consider it would be alive if it had a ghost. Otherwise, it was just a machine, because machines don't have ghosts. And so they play around with this. And one of the things they play around with is the idea that one of the soldiers, because they're in this sort of special forces unit, one of the soldiers says, why do you go around looking like a girl? Like, you could be anything you like. You could look like, and you could have a huge muscly guy. Why do you do it? And she says because it gives her an advantage, essentially, that people underestimate her as a result of her adopting that form, and therefore it's advantageous. And it's interesting because it's one of the weird things that kind of stopped ringing true slightly for me in that show, because normally it's really good, but actually, if anybody could look like that, it wouldn't be interesting to people that people look like that.
I see what you mean.
If everybody walked around that looked like that, nobody would find that particularly interesting or pay attention to it. And so the moment we can control what we look like and design our visual representation in the world,
and for it to be completely meaningless, like it's easy, it's like every day, like going and buying a new car or something.
People would do, and this is one of the things that they explore in the show, is people adopt increasingly abstract identities to try to be unique or try to find themselves in the kind of designed spaces, which is why this weird character that adopts this weird little tiny 3 foot tall little box robot that's really old and outdated, and he could afford he's a multi-billionaire, he could afford any of these newfangled bodies that are incredibly powerful, but he just says, no, this is the one that suits me. I find that really interesting.
I love that concept.
Yeah.
It's like wearing an old pair of shoes or something that you're just like, these are comfortable, they still work, it's fine, I'm happy with that.
It's I'm making it who I am.
Yeah.
And I like that idea. But it's certainly, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex is excellent. My working life, I'm not even going to read this comment, but you get your comments added to the screen today. I'm just listening, and I really enjoy what you guys are talking about. Really glad to stumble onto this. My working life, I can't believe how amazingly rude I was almost immediately you joining here. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And that's very kind of you. If you haven't seen Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, please do go and see it. I think I've recommended it because you were asking kind of what anime would you recommend, because I think anime can be a difficult place to...
Yeah.
My waking life, so funny. I appreciate you made me laugh. Oh my God, I swear to God, I was actually crying. That was ridiculous. Worst ever Twitch. whichever Twitch host ever. Yeah, Standalone Complex is a very easy recommend. It is incredibly smartly written. Animation is top notch, the action's top notch, and the philosophy, and that's pretty important. The philosophy is top notch as well. There are literally moments where almost the entire there's an episode called Angel Feathers, which is essentially the squad is dispatched to I think it's Russia, to look after somebody who's going to be attacked by a terrorist, essentially called Angel Feathers. And they're essentially waiting around for most of the episode for this guy to make his move and attack this, whoever it was, the target. And the whole episode is, for the most part, them just having these conversations on comms about philosophy and the nature of terrorism and what does it really mean to be a terrorist. And,
that's cool.
It's I mean, this show will be, it's truly, truly nuts, but it's the best example of post-human storytelling I've ever seen. It is so good. So don't let the scantily clad female lead put you off. She's a brilliant character, and yeah, it's great. Love Ghost in the Shell. In fact,
don't you have a? Oh yeah,
Chisai Tachikoma.
Nice.
I don't have a lot of things like this. I had a Geralt of Rivia somewhere, and I do actually have a Major Kusanagi somewhere as well. But I think that's she's in a box. But my wife brought me a Tachikoma because I like this. Yeah. I don't have a lot of this sort of geeky the geeky toys, but the Ghost in the Shell ones I'm a bit of a sucker for.
Yeah.
Have you watched many anime, Mr. Robin?
Not lots. No, I've just seen that Cowboy Bebop has just started. Is on Netflix, and I was wondering if I should watch that because I've heard good things about it, but I don't know.
Cowboy Bebop is stylish as fuck. It is incredibly beautifully animated. If you like your animation, it's probably worth watching for that alone. I do like that. It's essentially film. Well, it's kind of genre. It mixes with lots of different genres. Ostensibly, it's a kind of noir vibe to it. There's definitely elements of sort of gangster sort of. Yeah, it's kind of very strange in terms of like the kind of different places it will go with its storytelling. But it's always brilliant. Once you just sort of set back and listen to it, like watch it like it's jazz music, it's kind of just great stuff. The reason why Netflix is currently pimping this out is that
they've done a remake live action, haven't they?
They've done the live action remake, yeah. And I'm kind of a little bit not sure about that.
Well, I mean, if Ghost in the Shell remake live action is anything to go by, then maybe we should be concerned in some ways.
So the remake is a TV show. So they've remade it's a Netflix series.
Yeah.
It looks odd to me. It's one of those ones where it's really hard to see why you would do it because the original anime is so good. Like it is so good. And it's really difficult to understand what having it made as a movie would give you. Why would they do it equals? Yeah, absolutely right. That is probably. Oops. Yeah, that is exactly why.
That is it. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's a brand. I mean, from Netflix's perspective, really all they care about is having an IP that keep people excited. They don't even necessarily need to make it well. They've got something that people are going to want to watch, even if they don't like it. It sort of doesn't matter. I've got the trailer here if we could watch.
Yeah, take over.
I have to say there are bits of the show that look interesting. But let's have a look.
I am a sucker for live action sci-fi.
Well, I mean, this already looks like an animation. I mean, that looks like an animation right there. The way the light is on there. That looks like CG.
Yeah. Oh, I have no doubt it's all been done on a green screen, or at least.
Oh, this is an animation. That is definitely a picture. That was a picture. So he looks too old. But he looks exactly like his character. I don't know who that is.
There is a strange mashup there between sort of new and old. Again, I haven't seen the original anime, so I don't really understand the sort of style of it yet. But it does seem like that interesting mashup of high sci-fi and sort of low tech in a way.
Yeah, it is. It's not. It doesn't really lean too much into the science fiction stuff. Really, it's more about.
It's just a setting, as it were.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's got. I mean, there's no sound, by the way, in case you.
Oh, is there not?
No.
Oh,
I didn't notice until just. I was just like, oh, wait a minute. So it's supposed to be sound, isn't there?
Okay, I really am gonna just have to go ahead and do this again because the music is so goddamn good.
Oh, is it?
I'm gonna do that, and I want you to tell me. I want you to agree that it was worth it to replay it back from the beginning.
It better be.
No. The cowboy, because it is the original Cowboy Bebop theme tune, and I think it's necessary to understand what Cowboy Bebop is. And that's not going to make any sense until I do it. So let's just do this. Chrome tab, share audio. Okay,
do it all proper like.
Do it all proper like.
All proper like.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that now.
That's definitely not live action. That scene there. But this obviously is CGI.
Oh, we can go
it's
and
live
get a
action.
job.
They look like they're easy into it.
I had a partner, believe it or not. He know what you used to be?
All the jazz.
Wait for it.
Will I ever see you again?
Just wait for it. This is the OG soundtrack.
If you need to find me. I go by Spike Spiegel these days.
Yeah, it's very cool.
In this solar system, if the cops and the bounty hunters don't get you, the syndicate will. There's no happy ending here.
Spoken like a man who's never been in love.
I was.
What happened?
I was dreaming.
What do you say, fellas? You want to team up? I was thinking a 60-40 split. Going my way, of course.
Do not shoot her.
Please?
No.
I mean, that's kind of what I mean. You know, it's like it's sci-fi. There's spaceships, and then you've got like the firearms and like the clothes are all very terrestrial.
Kill her a little bit.
God damn it, Spike.
It's either coming from like the year 2080 something or the year 2020 something. Well, sorry, the year 1820 something.
Good guys.
His Korean background for
guys. Depends on who you ask.
So, okay, first question. Was I right that you needed the music?
Yeah, the music helps. The music helps a lot. Yeah, I'll give you that.
So this, in many ways, I think the music is at the heart of Cowboy Bebop. It's kind of mixing with different genres all the time and subverting expectations as well with that music. And it's kind of, I think most of the really good space shows are essentially, you know, the classic, it's like a Western in space, right? That's the fairly classic thing because essentially the stories are the same. They're just given a space setting. And the Cowboy Bebop basically plays like that. Not a Western in space necessarily, although some episodes maybe play more Western in space than others. But they kind of play a mix and match with genres, just like they mix and match with music in the whole of the show. The characters are great. It's just one of a kind, Cowboy Bebop. It's really, really good. Ghost in the Shell will leave you thinking. Cowboy Bebop will make you want to go and open a beer and listen to some smooth jazz. But it's so cool. It's very stylish. It's very stylized. It's a very different animation style. But it's great. It's really, really well done. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop definitely worth a watch.
I'm convinced.
I'm not sure about it. And if that trailer, if you like the look of that trailer, then just go and start watching the anime right now because it's all in there. Like,
I started on a late night. I think I started watching the first episode, and then I was like, "What am I doing? It's really late. I should just go to bed." And then I'll pick that back up.
Is that Red Eye? Is that the first episode?
I cannot remember. No.
Is there a pregnant woman in a bar? Looks like a pregnant woman.
No,
maybe.
I think it's just yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. Okay, Red Eye is the first episode.
Yes,
nailed it.
Honestly, if I had my OG like streaming setup, my waking life. You are so MVP today. That's good job. Thank you, man. Appreciate. Look at Will. This guy's a ramen.
Rain Man.
Oh. Look at Will, this guy's a Rain Man. Oh my god, I read that as ramen. What is wrong with me today? What is wrong with me today? Do you know what? I watched a documentary yesterday about, it was the Pastafarian documentary, I Pastafari.
Right.
Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
This is available, I think, to watch on Amazon on demand at the moment. Let me see if I can find it.
I Pastafari.
Yeah, that's it. Have you heard of the Pastafarians?
Nah, they believe in the spaghetti monster.
That's correct. They believe in the spaghetti monster. The flying spaghetti monster.
Flying spaghetti monster, as popularized by Richard Dawkins.
Yes. Yes, amongst others. So
he's the one who actually came up with that concept, though, wasn't it? Just in terms of one could believe, not the concept, but the actual physical description of the concept, which is a flying spaghetti monster. Yeah.
I don't know if it was. It could be. He could well be. It could also be the case that it was before him and he's sort of took it. But I think he certainly has made it more popular. So this is basically the concept of this is the it's a kind of. So I think it's Norway that they base this on, and the idea is that in order to be allowed to wear a headpiece in your driving license photo, it has to be for religious reasons. Otherwise, you're not allowed to wear a hat, or a head covering in your photo. And so these people have said that they wish to wear colanders upon their head.
Mm-hmm.
Because it reflects their. Why is this scrolling like that? Are you doing that?
I'm doing that, yeah.
Oh shit! That's so weird. I thought I was sharing my screen. Did you swap the screen?
No.
Man,
I think you just clicked on mine.
We were just sharing the same exact thing, and I thought I was doing it. I was like, "How is that happening? It's not on my screen." So anyway, yes, the basic premise here is that they, I think it's Norway, they basically were looking at trying to get them to recognize Pastafarianism, which is, as I say, as you mentioned, it's the religion of the flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
And the idea is the flying spaghetti monster created the world, and he reached out with his noodly appendages and made things happen in the world. And They basically wear the colander on their head as a symbol of the Pastafarian belief.
Yeah.
And there's actually several books of holy texts in the Pastafarian religion now. And one of the things I quite like about these is that there aren't any. there aren't any "thou shall nots" in the guides in the book. It's I would really rather you wouldn't.
I like that.
And it's basically this religion, this kind of religion that's come about from people that really, in some ways it's come about as a response to try to say, well, look, there are lots of people who don't have a religion but would like a religious-like structure. And you hear this quite a lot. People leaving a religion will often ask, what have you got to offer me in response to this? And the answer normally from the atheist community is not a lot. Like it's like what we can offer you determines the truth somehow.
Show me what you got.
Show me what you got. So the problem there is there isn't really much of a one-for-one. And then also people that have left a formal religion probably still quite like the idea. And there is value in community gathering and sort of ceremony and sort of a little bit of, some of the mechanics of religion, people have said that have got potential, humanitarian value. And so the idea of Pastafarianism is it provides that with a deity that's not particularly unpleasant, that would be very unlikely to make you do or believe anything that you didn't want to. A church that you can attend when you felt like you wanted to and shouldn't feel bad about not attending, and all kinds of things. And so they want it recognized as an official religion so that they can wear a colander on their head. Now, I, not them, I am not a Pastafarian, nor would want to be represented as such, and this is important. I'm not a Pastafarian. I could imagine that they might be doing this as a commentary about organized religion.
Right.
And as a deliberate attempt to use societal privileging of religion in order to get society to reflect on the actual nonsense of other allowances that other religions get.
Right.
Essentially, why are religions tax exempt? Why can people wear different clothing if it's for religious reasons, but not because they just want to?
Yeah.
Why exactly is that?
Yeah.
If it's not safe for somebody to have their face obscured by a hat in a driving license photograph, it should be no less safe if it's for religious reasons than if it's for reasons of fashion. It's absurd to say that it either is or isn't safe. So they basically took this to court in order to get their driving licenses allowed, and they actually succeeded to win a legal case around the driving licenses. And I think they were trying to pursue passports.
Wow.
I think that's where they were running into trouble. It was very late at night, and actually, I would recommend the documentary. It's quite good. It's quite interesting. When I say it's quite good, I think the topic's quite interesting. I think the documentary itself could have been a little bit tighter.
Right.
But the concept is really interesting, and it made me very empathetic to the group that were trying to promote, to who want to believe in this religion. And it's important that it is a religion, because the moment it's seen as not really a religion or a mock religion, or if it was to be seen for some reason as a parody of a religion, then the courts can dismiss it on the grounds that it's not serious.
Yes.
So it's important that they recognize that it is a religion, and that therefore the courts have to take it seriously, because there's nothing to distinguish it from any other religion if it's taken seriously. The only reason the courts currently are able to block their claim that it's a religion is that they are claiming that it's not serious.
Yes.
And so they are allowed to block it on that basis. But frankly, there is actually some really good evidence to suggest people take this pretty seriously. It's important in their lives that it's having a meaningful impact on their worldviews. And there are churches of Pastafarianism. And
what a world we live in.
It's pretty fucking nuts, isn't it? The world that we live in. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, I never thought I'd see the day.
The Church of the Spaghetti Monster.
Do you think that Richard Dawkins even considered that might happen based on his book and, based on like a completely flippant comment, basically?
So apparently, the original incarnation of the flying spaghetti monster religion said that the flying spaghetti monster wanted people to dress up in official, formal pirate regalia. So at all times, if you wish to adorn yourself with the sacred accoutrements of the religion, it's full pirate regalia. So
Right.
you technically should be a pirate in pirate dress. But then there's this other group that decided that the colander metaphor was much stronger, and they felt made them more strongly connected to their Pastafarian roots, and it was a stronger symbol of their religion. So now there's a schism within the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. There are the original true believers of the original way, where you dress up as a pirate, and then there's this sort of new upstart sort of narrative saying, no, the colander is the one true way. That's what the spaghetti monster would have wanted. It's very difficult to these things are deeply entrenched and ingrained in us, and obviously we have to respect everybody's views, and
Of course.
it's fucking amazing.
It is actually amazing.
It is just amazing that this is a thing.
It really is amazing.
I
love it.
My excuse about this is why I'm forgiving myself for reading your Rain Man comment as ramen, because in their prayers they respond by saying ramen. Ramen.
Oh, it actually doesn't get any better than that. I think
it's so good. You won't believe the number of spaghetti tangent puns that.
I might have to become a Pastafarian now. I mean,
it is fantastic. It's ramen.
I'm starting to look into it, and pirates are absolute divine beings. Apparently.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
You can see here, according to Pastafarians,
pirates and global warming. What?
Yes. Pastafarians believe that the concept of pirates as thieves and outcasts is misinformation spread by Christian theologians in the Middle Ages. Instead, Pastafarians believed that they were peace-loving explorers and spreaders of goodwill who distributed candy to small children, adding that modern pirates are in no way similar to the fun-loving buccaneers from history.
It's almost enough to make you believe, isn't it?
It really is. It really, really is. Oh, that's it. There's a graph that I think it's the decline in the number of pirates is attributable to the increase in temperature around the world. I think that's what this graph suggests. The global average temperature versus the number of pirates. So yes. It's the lack of pirates that's causing global warming, not the amount of carbon that we're pumping into the atmosphere. Oh my goodness!
There are some genuinely fantastic. I'd really rather you didn't. Here's one that's.
Go on.
Let me use this fancy.
Oh, I love this. Look at that.
What's this? Oh yes, that is glorious.
It's the star you put on the top of a Christmas tree. Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's enough, right?
Yeah.
I'd really rather you didn't challenge the bigoted, misogynistic, hateful ideas of others on an empty stomach. Eat and then go after the bastards.
Oh, that's a fantastic quote.
This is a part of the 8 holy. I'd really rather you didn't. I'd really rather you didn't go around telling people I talk to you. You're not that interesting. Get over yourself. I told you to love your fellow man. Can't you take a hint?
Oh, brilliant.
It is pretty good. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. If you're looking for a new religion, here's a new religion. Yes, it's pretty good. I recommend the movie as well. It's the documentary. It's definitely worth watching, and it gives a better description of it. It's not. Yeah, I was aware of them. I wasn't aware of the kind of the sincerity and seriousness of some of the cases that they were trying to overturn, and the change they were trying to have. And I think it's worth watching. I would say it's on Amazon Video for free. I think it's a part of their Prime thing in the UK anyway. So yeah, very much recommended.
I mean, it's possibly partly down to it's one of those things that I'm sure there will have been some people that will have been arguing the case for Pastafarian in order to make a point about organized religion and all that kind of thing. But it might also very well be the case that at the point where they argue about it so much and so convincingly and so passionately that they actually end up starting to believe it and start following it themselves. And maybe that's kind of how these things get going. You know what I mean? Like, that's the interesting thing about it.
I mean, it's as the Book of Mormon is no more convincing, in terms of its origins. It's just not. Excellent use of my icon. It's if you listen to the story behind Scientology, it's.
Oh, I mean, that's just, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's as crazy as this, unquestionably.
It is. And this is the funny thing is it's incredibly difficult to point out exactly where this is a parody in comparison to some of the other ideas. It's very good. I recommend it to your attention, most assuredly.
Cool.
What was I going to say? Yeah. So Robin, you have to go and watch Cowboy Bebop and report back next Wednesday. That would be cool. It would be good to hear what you think to that.
Yeah, I will do that.
This feels too zoomed in to me. What do you think? I kind of prefer this one.
You prefer that one?
Know. What do you think, Chad?
Is that a thing that people do on stream? I don't imagine they actually play around with their shots.
Probably not. No, not very pro. It's like an optician.
1 or 2. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. That's a great South Park episode. That was a bit much, Will. What is happening there?
Hardly anything.
3
hardly anything at all.
Nice.
Oh wow! Look at this. Wow, I'm through the rabbit hole with my camera effects. Yes, science fiction. So transhuman. Yeah, I really want you to watch Ghost in the Shell, though. I think Cowboy Bebop is fantastic, and I don't want you to not watch that. But I really, really think you'd enjoy Ghost in the Shell.
I mean, I've seen that original.
Really.
I've seen that the original short film. That's like an hour. I mean, it's like an hour and 20 minutes long or something like that. I've seen that, and it's great. I love the feel of it, the tone, the pace, all of it. I really like.
So Standalone Complex, which is the TV series that they made, most of the original animation team went on to perform a company called Production IG. And they're the ones behind many of the animes that are just fantastic. But most important to me was Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, which is a weird name because it makes it feel very confusing as to what is a standalone complex. Where does
you have a complex about standing alone?
Well, a standalone complex is actually a fascinating idea, which I've only ever seen mentioned in this thing. But again, just in the spirit of these things being like fascinating wanders through psychology, the concept of a standalone complex is when there's an attempt to copy something that wasn't what you thought it was. So it's an example of an emergent phenomenon. So I think I saw you do something, but I'm mistaken about that. But I try to copy what I thought it was that you did. And in doing so, even though I'm copying something, I'm actually creating something new that has never been done before. And it's a similar kind of philosophical phenomenon to genetic reproduction and mutation. Like, we're attempting to copy a genetic pattern. Sometimes that copy is not an exact copy, and as a result, something new is created. And this is almost like a mimetic concept that's related to this idea in trying to replicate what I think somebody's doing. So in the show, they look at a guy who's essentially commits an act of almost terrorism. He doesn't kill anybody, but he essentially holds a weather reporter hostage and starts screaming at the television and is basically losing his mind, essentially, and is trying to convince everybody that there's a huge cover-up. And then people are copying him and an entire movement gets started around what they think he was trying to do. And it becomes its own thing. But the original guy was never trying to do what they thought they saw him do. And it was actually something completely different. But this movement that's now started because of him seems to have grown out from this event that has been largely misinterpreted, and therefore is what's known as a standalone complex, something that's sort of an emergent set of behaviors in society from this kind of misunderstanding. Anywho, my point was the standalone complex is a stupid name. So Ghost in the Shell standalone complex seems like it's really hard to know where to fit it within the timeline, and basically it's before the movie. It's like a prequel to the movie.
Oh, okay.
And further to that, there's the second season of Ghost in the Shell. The TV show is called Second Gig.
Second Gig.
The Second Gig. Yeah.
That must be lost in translation somehow.
I don't really understand why they've called it that. So it's Ghost in the Shell and then Standalone Complex, and then there's Ghost in the Shell. I don't know if it's called Standalone Complex Second Gig or whether it's called just Ghost in the Shell The Second Gig. I don't know. But anyway, they're both brilliant. They're just terribly badly named. But yeah, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex prequel, basically all the same characters, but much more watchable and relatable than the movie. The movie's a bit confusing because it basically just drops you into the middle of this world. And the original anime, by the way, is very weird. It starts off as a kind of comedy, jokey, kawaii kind of like very surrealist comedy anime. Like nothing really like the kind of content of the show, and it was very popular. And about halfway through, the original writer of the show started adding these incredibly detailed and nuanced notes in the margins of the panels of the manga, sorry. And he started just fleshing out this world to a level of detail that just seemed completely absurd. And the story started to get much darker and much more philosophical, and it sort of transitioned from this kind of lighthearted, like popcorn bubblegum anime thing to suddenly become this kind of super surreal commentary on the post-human experience. It's very weird. And then so when the movie came out, they took just that side of it, the kind of the more serious, more thought-provoking, more philosophical kind of attitude towards the narrative, and created this movie that was kind of hinted at in the manga, but not really grounded in the way that the movie was. And actually then the Standalone Complex basically takes that and kind of builds that world out, essentially. It's just fucking weird, but it really doesn't matter. The bottom line is you can sit and watch Standalone Complex without having any backstory. Everything that's implied, just take it for granted. And it's just fantastic. It's so good.
I'm going to watch that.
It's really, really fucking
Any idea where I can get it?
You can buy it on Amazon.
Right.
I've got it on DVD, and I think I've bought it on at least two different on-demand platforms in my time now. But you can definitely buy it on demand through Amazon.
Good
and
Amazon.
There's like a bunch of episodes. Like, it's not short, so the value for money proposition is not too bad. Amazon. This is in the UK, by the way. I'm sure Amazon are reselling it elsewhere, but I know you can get it. Let me have a look. Amazon Prime Video. Stupid bloody name for a service.
Yeah, very silly. Well, like everything that Amazon does, everything's in beta, isn't it?
Yes. I really hope their film service isn't, because I've got a lot of movies in that basket at this point.
Yeah.
It really feels like that. It really feels like one day they could just wake up and decide, hey,
we're pulling the plug.
We're kind of just not into that movie thing anymore. Thanks for renting our movies.
Yeah, you always had a leasehold.
You remember that terms and condition disclaimer where it said that we never really were giving you anything. You were just we're letting you view it. Well, now we're not going to let you view it.
Yeah, you always had a leasehold on those DVDs. Friggin' Bezos. I mean, there we go. There's a quote for the decade, I think.
Oh, friggin' Bezos.
Friggin' Bezos, dystopian rocket man.
26 episodes. Season 1 is $9.99.
That's not too bad.
26 episodes. Each episode is 26 minutes, give or take. So that's quite a bit of content for, and that's just the first season for $10.
How many episodes again?
26 for the first season.
Wow. And how long are they? Like 30 minutes each?
Yeah, about 26 minutes.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
Not too bad.
That's not too shabby.
And it's good from the outset. It's not like it's not like it's not like one of those shows. Cowboy Bebop takes a little warming to, I think, because it's hard to calibrate for what to expect for it. But once you get into Cowboy Bebop, it gets its hooks really deep. It's like it's too cool, too cool, and stylish, and it makes you wonder where style went. Like it's one of those shows that's just does style so well, it makes you wonder why we don't. Why aren't there stylish people around these days? Why is everybody just wearing rubbish normal clothes and just doing things in a normal way?
Styles changed, Will.
Why do people don't sit around drinking brandy and listening to smooth jazz all the time? It's like, what's going on? What's wrong with us?
Because that's what Gen X and that's what Gen X people like, not what
is that?
Not what millennials and Gen Z's like.
Well, they're just wrong.
As every older generation has said about the younger generation for the whole of time.
And here's the scary thing, and they've always been right. It's weird. It's weird to appreciate. It's hard to appreciate something you haven't grown up with, I think.
Agreed.
Like it really is. And it's, you can't grow up with somebody else's past. So like you just can't reinvent it.
No.
Like, I don't know, it kind of makes me think about when I grew to love jazz and blues music, which is music that, I felt was cool to listen to before I liked it. Like, I felt like it would be cool to like blues and jazz music. And you think, I'd like to be the sort of person that listened to classical blues and jazz music and sort of was cultured and things. And that really, that was its only merit. It was
actually like, just the listening.
It was kind of cool to listen to it.
Yeah.
And then you stop. I don't know when it happened, but something happens in you, and now you suddenly realize you're not ironically listening to this to affect a sort of artistic persona that actually turns out this is just the actual shit. And it's pretty damn amazing. And you're really angry at your past self for not having taken the time to really fucking listen to this stuff before now. Bro, if I had money, I would sit in front of the fire and drink whiskey and brandy and listen to smooth jazz. Damn straight. That is one of the bad sides of it, but hey, good whiskey's expensive, and having a fireplace is not easy these days. But there are ways and means, man. There are ways and means.
You could always just light a fire outside. I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Just get the jazz on. Get the lights down low. Just get some jazz on. Sit down. Get a drink, whatever it is. You could even drink, if you're proper chav, if you've got absolutely no class, you could even drink, I don't know, Heineken from a can or something. I mean, that's the lowest of the low bottom feeders. That's I mean, what kind of
Nothing wrong with that.
So yeah, listen to your jazz. It doesn't sound like a rich man's sport.
No.
The problem, I mean, it's ironic, really, because mostly the blues and the jazz came out of very poor American. This is proper Black American, music. This came out of extreme poverty, and yet it's now seen as a feat almost. It's a sort of weird intellectual pastime. It's just, yeah, it's weird, but I thoroughly I thoroughly recommend it. It's public restroom juice box. New jazz.
New jazz.
What is new jazz?
What's new jazz? I guess like new metal, but jazz.
Is it like Korn on trumpet or something? Is it?
I wonder if I'm gonna Google that. Does new jazz come up?
New jazz. I'm so scared about what the word new jazz means about the world that I'm living in.
Oh, I like it.
Is it
like
bad?
it.
You're not listening to it. You're listening. Okay.
No, I'm not listening to it. Also known as jazztronica or future jazz. Is a genre of jazz and electronic music. The music blends jazz elements with other musical styles such as funk, electronic music, and free improvisation.
All right, well, that sounds pretty good. Also, jazz has always featured free improvisation.
Yes,
so
that's not
really
different.
an innovation.
No.
That sounds like it could not be the worst. I quite liked fusion music. One of the things I really hated about the whole new metal movement was that it killed this sort of fusion narrative. This isn't a paywall, by the way, Roman.
It's not a paywall, no. Maybe later.
But
and then you do that, and then it comes back.
No, you have to click the little cross. There you go.
And then it comes back again.
Imagine a jazz migraine. Is that meringue? Oh, jazz meringue. Oh my God. I swear to God, I need to make the font bigger on this thing. That's going to be my excuse. Oh, I can. Oh, that's easier. Okay, a jazz meringue. That sounds great. Jazz meringue could be a good
jazz migraine. Name. That's migraine, not meringue. Your misreading is absolutely fantastic today.
It is on point today, isn't it? Like, I'm really looking forward to doing Wikipedia Wonders with you because, like, my ability to read basic human sentences has apparently fallen out my bloody ears at some point. Yeah, it's been a hard one.
I'm going to make a jazz meringue. Actually, I shouldn't admit to that on stream.
Dobbsy, I love you. Don't. Right. This isn't happening. No more Dobbsy love, right? That's an end to it. Okay, it was one-time thing. I get it. He'll get accustomed to it, and I won't have that on this channel. Goddamn Dobbsy love. What is the world coming to?
I know, right? Who'd have thought?
My waking life, would you kindly do us a favor? We do this thing called Wikipedia Wonders. If you've ever seen this channel before, what is thanks doc, Mr. X?
I think that's probably was an emoji of some kind.
Oh, gotcha.
But it's not anymore.
Not an emoji on this channel, unfortunately. Although, thank you very much, by the way. This is our first ever YouTube comment, so congratulations.
Well
I forgot we were live on YouTube today. That's quite exciting.
Yeah.
So we do this thing at the end of the show called Wikipedia Wonders, where basically we try to navigate between two different Wikipedia pages using only the links inside the Wikipedia page itself, and also we don't allow going back. We don't allow backlinks. Is that right?
Yep.
Yay!
Yay! Yeah, no going backwards, and no using the bibliography at the bottom, or references at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And so what I'd like to my waking life, because you've been such a star today. Would you kindly recommend? Whenever I say "would you kindly," I always think I'm being like psychologically manipulative, a la BioShock.
Yeah.
I don't have the Irish accent, but like, yeah. Would you kindly suggest a Wikipedia article that we need to start on, and the one where we need to finish, and we'll try and navigate between the two of them.
Just
so to give you an example,
in
where have we gone first?
Pages.
We went from, was it Napoleon to, what did we do? It was like, what was last week? That was weird. It was some weird American Idol or something record.
Yeah,
some really obscure album by some American Idol reject.
Yeah.
Called Ace something or other, wasn't it? Ace. I don't remember what it was called. His name was like Ace something or other.
And we went from like particle physics or something like that, wasn't it?
From particle physics to this really weird America's Next Got Talent thing.
Person. Oh no, it was that place. in like Switzerland.
Oh, that's right.
And
yeah,
it had
was,
like
it was...
the Wikipedia page was like 2 lines long. Like, it only
That's
had like
right.
2
Yeah,
links
they
on it.
tried to trap us by a little cul-de-sac, but we managed to escape, didn't we?
Did not work.
So if anybody's got suggestions, please feel free just drop us a message in chat. Just the name of the starting Wikipedia article and just the name of the ending one.
Yeah, not the link,
Obviously,
otherwise it'll get blocked.
Otherwise, the link might... Well, I think it will get blocked. Like, I don't understand in this StreamYard world whether that will happen, but
that's a good point. Yeah.
I think it will.
We don't know.
Yeah. We will wiki about it. We'll do. Okay. So feel free to just let us know just a starting article, and then we'll have a wander through.
Is there a website that you can sort of just spin a wheel, and it's like the Wheel of Fortune, but for Wikipedia pages?
Wikipedia has like a random article selection already, so you can hit random article in Wikipedia. So we could do that, but I always like to ask Jack.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, no, I'm just...
The reason, I'll be honest with you, the reason I like to ask chat to suggest them is that way I can be really like annoyed at chat if they give us really hard ones. So, start with Jean-Paul Sartre. Okay, Mr. X, that is a goddamn start and a half. Jean-Paul Sartre.
Yep, that's not a bad start.
Hell is other people.
And we just need one more to go to. Oh, Nightlight wants us to start from...
Hey, Nightlight, how you doing?
Waking Life, Vulcan, Alberta ending. What's that?
What is that? I've never heard of that.
Vulcan, Alberta.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Ooh, ending at trees. Artificial intelligence and ending at trees. Hey, I'll tell you what we'll do, Nightlight, because also lovely to see you today. I think what we'll do is we'll do the Jean-Paul Sartre to Vulcan Alberta.
Yep.
And then if we do it quick enough, we might go AI to trees. I quite like AI to trees. I think that's good. But I think in deference to the suggestion, Jean-Paul Sartre, I just love, so that's fantastic. And then Vulcan, Alberta, and that's a Canadian town.
Yes.
Is it famous for having a fantastic Jean-Paul Sartre statue?
Goodness.
Because it would be super, super handy if that was the case. Okay, let's have a look. You're gonna stream it, are you? Let's push this up and I will.
So where we start? We're starting with Jean-Paul Sartre.
Jean-Paul Sartre. Okay, here we go.
Okay, there we go. We got to get to Vulcan.
So we got to
Alberta.
get to Canada.
Canada.
So,
right, well,
I don't think you ever spoke about Canada.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm doing it wrong. Hang on. There we go. Canada. Oh, it's searching in there. That's fantastic. No good. Is it?
You just found the word that you wrote previously.
Okay, there's no Canada in here.
I mean, did you really think there would be?
Well, I tell you where we can go. Jean-Paul Sartre.
I'm guessing French-Canadian, though. Yeah, so French-Canadian.
If we go to France, maybe.
Well, what about French language, maybe?
Where
was he born? There was like
hang on. Look, there's just French, which is French people.
Oh, perfect. Then clearly French people living in Canada, so that's got to be pretty damn quick. Nightlife, I think we're going to be doing yours. I feel this is good. Okay, this is where we find out that this is like this town in Canada is like the tiniest Nowheresville. So where is this town? Alberta in Canada.
Oh, there we go. Canada. Yeah, we're there.
All right,
Canada.
We're in Canada. I mean, we're not, but we are. In some ways, we are.
So maybe now if we type Vulcan... No.
That would be too easy.
Well, maybe we can do Alberta. Oh, yeah, there we go. Alberta.
Alberta?
Right there.
God damn, that's pretty close. Vulcan must be there, right?
You'd have thought so.
Well, I don't know. It's still a pretty big-ass region, so maybe
it's not. It's not.
No. We might be struggling here. Vulcan is a town that just embraced the Star Trek, embraces the Star Trek background.
Nice.
I don't understand what that means.
As in Vulcan, the planet Vulcan, and the race Vulcan. Oh,
I'm
man.
like the king of being so dumb today. It's St. Paul, Alberta. Oh, okay. Wait, what?
Oh.
Is the place but oh no, there is a Vulcan, Alberta. So that is where we're going. Okay. We are going there. Okay. We're going to Vulcan, Alberta, right?
Yeah. I hope so.
St. Paul, Alberta has the biggest UFO landing pad in the world. Oh, really?
Wow.
Oh, they built like a landing pad so that when aliens landed, they would choose to land in St. Paul. How do you pronounce that? P-A-U-I-L? Is that Paul?
Yeah, that's a strange spelling, isn't it?
Is that a mistyping?
Might be a
or you literally just trying to troll my ability to read English language because don't pick on me. I'm weak today.
Your powers are weak, old man.
So Alberta, Canada. Yeah, it's simple. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Vulcan, Alberta.
St. Albert. So maybe if we look for like towns.
How big is the population in this place? What's it famous for? I think we might need to do a little bit of backwards thinking here. So Vulcan, Alberta, Canadian prairies. Oh, it's in the Canadian prairies. Is that mentioned in Alberta?
I think it is.
In southern Alberta.
Southern quarter of the province is prairie.
Oh, hang on a second. So Vulcan has a tourism building made to look like the landed space station, a statue of the original series Enterprise and the Star Trek themed attractions.
Oh, wow.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing.
Leaning into it. Nice one. Got to be famous for something. How would the Star Trek Enterprise statue not be listed under culture? What? I mean, really? Herb Guy! Bible Thump 100. Reality is getting old and realizing that a home isn't magic and doesn't clean itself.
It does not do those things.
Yes. Realizing homes don't clean themselves is... Yes, it is a horrible moment of having to grow up. Star Trek is its claim to fame. But presumably it was called Vulcan before Star Trek. So its claim to fame is a TV show that was quite popular. Was the planet Vulcan? There is actually a planet Vulcan, is there not?
There is exactly that in Star Trek. There is the planet Vulcan. Yeah.
They just leaned into it. Excellent. It's when childhood dies. Hey, everybody. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing well, Herb Guy. Nice to see you as always. Robin, have we done this yet?
No.
If it was me, I'd have done it by now. Where are we? Stuck in Alberta? Can we not get to the Canadian prairies? Can we get to southern Alberta?
That's what I'm just looking for now. Southern. Yeah, there's the southern Alberta something.
Highway 23.
Ooh.
Oh, fuck. Major highways 20. It's not even on a major highway. No wonder they were having to steal from this goddamn sci-fi TV show to get themselves recognized. I mean, my gracious. Highway 23 isn't even listed in the southern Alberta list of highways.
This is a tough one now. We've hit a bit of a wall here. You would have thought... I wonder if it's in a community? Okay, hang on. So if we look through some of these... Because, see, southern Alberta doesn't have... Oh, hang on. Okay. It is in southern Alberta. There it is. I found there is a link there. Which for some reason didn't come up before when I did search.
Is there anybody in your house that understands how to use computers that we could get to help you?
Are you just making up for all of the colossal screw-ups you've already made in this stream?
I've been on point today.
Oh, yes.
No, but for me, though. For me, I've been basically pretty professional.
There it is. Got it.
I've not been needlessly
We're there.
racist. I've not
We're
made
there.
a misogynistic joke. I've not started a war. I've not,
did it.
you know, I've been all right.
Took us a while.
What do you mean you did it? I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Okay.
Go back.
I'll go back. Southern
What
Alberta.
was it?
Vulcan.
Oh,
It was
you
A-Town.
found the link to Southern Alberta. That's the link we couldn't find.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I was
GG.
typing in Southern in before, and I couldn't find this link because look, it's blacked out here, but it's not. It's a link there, which is interesting.
Right. Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
GG.
There we go.
GG.
GG. That
All
was
right,
what,
can we
like
do-
6, 7 clicks?
Yeah, it wasn't very many. It wasn't too bad. It was. If you would have been better at searching pages of text, we'd have probably done it a lot quicker. I think. Can we do Nightlight's artificial intelligence to trees?
We can. Yeah. All right.
Shall I drive?
You want to drive this time?
I want to drive this time.
Feel free.
I feel it'll go better. I feel it'll go better with my, because the thing is, and here's the thing, Robin, I'm reading like so well, the bestest
So
reading.
well. You are really good
I've
at
got-
reading today.
I've got I know all the best words. I know the best words, the bigliest words. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this like someone who reads, man. Like, that's how well I'm going to read this.
You really do read. You read everything.
I'm going to read the words and I'm going to make the sounds that the words represent.
Please do. I can't wait.
I'm also going to momentarily remind us all of North Star, a terrible movie we were talking about earlier.
I love that gif.
It is horrible, isn't it? It was really freaky. It was one of those like special effects that, like even as a kid, like freaked me out to look at it. It was like way too, because it was all practical effects and very little like visual trickery. When he freaked out and raged out with the red eyes thing, like his skin was all pulsating, but practical effects always looked way worse than the kind of later CG effects.
Oh yeah,
Like really more like, oh, what's happening? I can't understand what's going on.
Yeah. Well, all you
Right.
have to do is look at Starship Troopers or RoboCop, and then you realize all
Oh,
those
God,
practical
yeah.
effects were like, whoa,
So there's some
really
juice
grim.
in there.
Yeah.
Get the strawberry jam out. That's all over the place. Look at that. All right, artificial intelligence to trees. Thing is, I think trees do. So I'm assuming we're going to have the, because you could have a neural tree, right? Like a related set of. So I think we need trees specifically, like the biological organism.
Well, that's what I had assumed.
So I assume that is the case. That's what we're going for.
Yeah,
Tree. There we go. Fantastic. So AI to tree. That's a sweet journey. I like that one. All right. Where are we going to go? So we could go science, biology, nature, plants, trees, I guess.
Yep. I reckon you're probably right there.
Ooh.
Might be a quick one, this one.
Could that be a disambiguation?
Pass tree or passing tree. Yeah, you're not going to get to actual tree there, surely.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you'd have to be super confused to need to be clarified here. Tree the plant, not the search. Yep, gotcha. Yeah, we'll get to the plant. That's the goal here. Search tree. Oh, it's got to mention a tree-like structure, hasn't it? It's got to describe why is it called a tree. It's called a tree because we have these things called trees.
Decision tree.
Oh, one of those trees has got to be linked. Who did that? But also they have to have done that. Yeah, decision trees. Oh, one of these has got to be linked, and I'm going to choose the wrong one, and we're going to end up in a quagmire of AI-related data science.
Well, we can always get back out by just going to like science or something.
Do you think a decision tree or...
I think it might actually be worth a punt that there might just be, you never know, decision tree is called decision tree because it's based on what a tree looks like.
I'm doing it. Decision tree learning. Okay, we're through the listing. Classification trees. Oh, what? Oh, come on. That's got to be disambiguation though, because wait, is that just self-referencing link? A decision tree. When I hover over trees there, which is just the word trees linked, it seems to be linking to a decision tree.
Which link are you hovering over?
So it's got the classification, and then it's got the word trees. The trees is just linked to what looks like decision tree again.
So we've actually gone to decision tree learning, and that link takes us to decision tree. Yeah.
It's got the word leaves on here. God, this feels like we should have. I feel like it's going to take longer because it seems so close, and I feel like the wrong move. The word leaf is here. The word trees is here and linked, but not.
Leaves takes you to, in computer science, a tree is a widely used abstract data type that simulates a hierarchical tree structure. That might have the word tree.
Does tree structure have?
It might do. I mean, it might do.
Phil, this is so close. This could be a four clicker. Well, we normally get four link runs here, so I don't know. All right. Let's not go to NP complex problem solving. Oh my God, my scroll wheel has gone absolutely insane. Look, hands free. I'm not doing this. What's going on?
Did you click the mouse button?
Oh yeah, I did.
The middle mouse button. Yeah, that's what. All right, where are we going? Are we going leaves?
I'm gonna click. I want to click trees.
Decision trees.
But it's gonna go to. Should we go leaves? I feel like trees is more likely, right?
All right, let's go to decision tree instead. Then
I'm gonna click on the word tree because I think that should have. Oh, I thought that would be disambiguation.
No. Takes you to.
It's all gone wrong. Tree-like.
Tree.
Graph theory. Oh, maybe none of these are actually going to refer to biological trees. And therefore, I'm going to hate this. I feel like this is a road of disappointment.
I think this might be our first mistake. I think this might be the moment where we knew we fucked up.
What about money tree, though? Money tree. Oh my God, there are too many trees that aren't trees.
I've never seen so much tree language without any actual freaking trees.
Freaking trees. I'm going to go to tree-like.
There's random forest here. You went to tree-like.
A rooted forest. The thing is, it's so far away from biology. Look at all these.
So you've gone to tree graph theory. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Sorry, I'm playing along at home. You got to tree-like, right? I see. Okay. Yeah, this is no bueno.
How are none of these things emotion tree? Seriously, Herb, we don't need more unrelated, not biological tree.
Emotion tree. Oh, brilliant.
We've got too many goddamn trees here that aren't goddamn trees. Oh, at some point we would have been better off going to science or something and then biology and trees.
What about unrooted binary tree?
What about tree structure? Or
pseudo forest?
Fuck me. They can't have a word like tits buildings. You've got no idea how many times
What the hell is a lobster tree?
What the hell is tits buildings?
Tits buildings?
Mate, I swear, I'm losing my mind. That says, and I know I've misread a lot of things today. I know I've misread a lot of things today. Please tell me that definitely does indeed say tits buildings.
It does say tits buildings. Yeah, you got that one right.
These arise in the Cayley graphs of free groups and in the theory of tits buildings.
Fantastic.
The theory of tits buildings. What is it's not going to be related to, and it's not going to live up. I'm never clicking it because it will let that link will let you down. I know it will.
It will.
There's no way it's going to live up to the potential of tits buildings.
No.
God damn. This is why I love Wikipedia Wonders. You never know what you're going to find. Sometimes it's a lengthy journey, and other times it's tits buildings. Sometimes you just, got to roll with the punches. Fuck my actual goddamn. Can we go to tree structure? Were we not at tree structure? That's how we got here, wasn't it?
I think we're boned.
We're effed in the A.
We're taking a wrong turn. We're in the bad part of town. We crossed the railroad tracks. I want to go to Lobster Tree. Can we go to Lobster Tree?
You can do whatever you like in your own time, but we're on the stream's clock. We got a mission.
Well,
how many trees?
Are you still on?
I'm in the cul-de-sac that is tree structure.
You went to tree structure.
I went to tree structure, Robin, and I'll thank you to take your tone away because, frankly, I would have thought that the idea of getting to trees from tree structure was not out of the realms of possibility. Forgive me, Robin. Forgive me. Clearly, I'm a madman.
Okay.
To be fair, anybody dumb enough to need a link to actual trees from the concept of tree structure probably can't read the English language sufficient to be able to navigate here. So it's probably fair that they're not linking to it.
Oh my God, I hadn't realized there were so many types of tree.
God damn, there are so
science
many types of trees.
And data management.
And tit buildings. So many tit buildings. What?
Tree structure. There is under the heading examples of tree structures. There is biology, evolutionary tree, and
that's closer to biology. So we're going to go plants, are we?
I think. I mean, so. I'm going to click on it.
I can't believe how disappointingly long this is going to take us. All right. Am I even able to get there? So biology. Oh gosh, biological trees here, but it's not actually.
No, there is another link if you scroll down.
Evolutionary tree. Okay.
No. Yes. No. Oh, hang on. Where did I? Oh no, I clicked. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Evolutionary tree. But the one that I clicked on took us to phylogenetic tree.
I mean, we're going to get to. Wow, is this so hard? I can't believe it. It mentions biological tree in the intro, but no link. Oh no.
No, there is a link. There is a link.
I'm going to evolutionary tree.
There we go.
At least we've got to biology out of the weird world of.
Yeah.
Oh, goddamn! The word
rough.
Tree is linked back to the graph theory of tree.
It is. Yeah.
Are we going to have to go to plants at some point then?
I think.
I'm hopping off straight from you guys. You got a fan for life. A+ for content. My waking life. You're a superstar. Thank you so much.
Nice one, my waking life.
That is pretty awesome considering how incredibly badly I.
Well, I've got a great idea for a book now.
It is the title of your memoirs. I like it.
It's the title of my new memoirs. I've decided that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write. I'm going to write it. Start writing it now.
My Wanking Life, a memoir by Robin Young.
Oh my God.
It was whilst reaching for that second box of Kleenex that it occurred to me that the many trials and tribulations of my lifetime should be set aside into a great tome to share with future generations.
Oh man.
Excellent.
Right. I think I might have.
I was trying to think of a word for. Sorry, where are we? We're up shit creek. It's all gone.
No.
Wrong.
I think we're okay. So I think if you scroll all the way to the top of the page, and then you look on the there we go, evolutionary biology, and then you show natural history. on the right-hand side there.
Oh.
So you can show natural history. And then if you click on like the origin of life, maybe, or
organic origin
history
of
life.
Common. Yeah, that feels like I can't believe we're gonna have to go via biology. We're so close. My lobster tit house. Tit building. Thank you, Herb. Tit buildings.
Tit
I don't know
building.
what a tit house is. Clearly, we're talking about tit buildings. Which I am going to be looking up very shortly to find out what the fuck that is. History of evolutionary theory. Come on. Fields of application.
Fields and applications.
It must be a plant like... fuck it.
Evolutionary epistemology.
That I don't think is going to help us. Origin of species, Darwin, evolutionary. He didn't really talk about trees, I don't think.
I think he did.
History of life seems like plants would definitely have to get mentioned, right?
I think trees would probably be in that. I think history of life is where I'm going for it. I've done it.
I'm done. Trees. Tree archetypes. Tree. Oh, to hell with you not linking that.
Another evolutionary tree.
Extinct genus of tree is here.
Fossilized trees. In botany, a tree... I found it.
Evolutionary trees. Fossilized trees. You want to go with that?
Well, there is a... If you keep going down, yeah. There we go. That's a link to trees.
Oh my God, finally.
Yeah, we're there.
GG. Wow, that was pretty direct, and it took us about 50. We started... The first link took us to something with the word tree in it.
Yeah.
And from there, it went pretty much directly to hell.
Yeah, that was a yeah. It was the biology link.
I'm gonna bloody mindedly go through all of those articles now and link the word tree wherever possible to biological tree in Wikipedia. That's going to become my contribution to all world knowledge. What the fuck is a tit building?
Yeah, we've got to find that out now.
Tits plural building.
Tits building.
In mathematics, I knew this was going to be disappointing because that already has taken me well outside of my concept of tits.
Because of course it's named after somebody.
Also, tits building named after Jack Tits.
That is a cracking name. That is a great name. Jack Tits. Oh. I wish I was called Jack Tits.
Was his middle name One? Jack One Tits.
Oh, that is marvelous.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
I don't even know what it is. Is a combinatorial and geometric structure which simultaneously generalizes certain aspects of flag manifolds, finite projective planes, and Riemannian symmetric spaces.
Yeah, Riemannian symmetric spaces.
This
buildings were initially introduced
more pornographic than I expected.
Buildings were initially introduced by Jacques Tits as a means to understand the structure of exceptional groups of Lie type. Or Lie type, I suppose. That could be Lie type.
I really shouldn't be laughing.
Wow. Oh, what about the more specialized theory of Bruhat Tits buildings? We are children, though. We are children.
But seriously, Jack Tits. That's amazing.
There is something called Tits Alternative. Oh,
Tits Alternative.
I mean, I want to know what that is.
Surely it's ass.
Because a lot of my life revolves around tits.
Maybe that ass buildings are the asymmetric
buildings.
Asymmetric, simple space buildings. Well, hey, that was less enlightening than one might hope for. Click on his name. Oh yeah, sure. We should totally check.
Oh yeah, Jack Tits.
Oh, he looks like a proper decent old little chap. He's 91.
He's still alive. 1930.
He's 91. Damn. That's a good innings.
Yeah, he's doing well.
The tits group. Tits
metric.
Oh, a unit of measurement. Can you measure things in tits?
Oh, for example, that's wonderful.
For example, a good night out.
How good was your night out? Was your night out on the tits metric? On a scale?
6.5 tits. 6.5 tits. How did you get half a tit? Well, side boob. But what can you do?
Oh, great.
The side boob is a fraction of a tit.
Oh my goodness!
Do you remember when we were talking about philosophy not an hour ago?
It just shows.
It was good, wasn't it? And it's just gone hugely downhill.
Yeah,
fantastic. This man needs to make everything. Could not agree more, Herb. I don't know how we can do. Let me jump into, for those who are watching via Twitch. Thank you. Well, also, by the way, thank you to everybody for watching. As always, this is the first time I've ever streamed with StreamYard, and hopefully it wasn't too bad. It feels less interactive. Like it's bit harder. It feels less harder to less graphics, less fireballs.
Yeah,
that's less exciting. It's a shame. I can't. I need to work out a way of doing this, perhaps that brings us our fireballs back. I kind of miss the fireballs. I think so tomorrow, just to make sure everybody's fully aware, just in case you don't know, tomorrow we're going to be doing an actual series talk, which is going to about Christianity. We're going to talk to a lovely gentleman about his journey from being, I guess, born into a Jehovah's Witness household, and then sort of through Christianity, and then into the world of skepticism. And we're going to have a good chat about that. So that will be tomorrow at 7 o'clock GMT. Let me see if I can find the graphic for that, because I did a graphic and everything, and tomorrow it will be no use to anybody. So
wasn't it Mormons, not Jehovah's Witnesses?
No, Mormons is I think the 27th is the Mormon conversation,
right, which
is also coming up. Let me share my screen. It's not as seamless transitioning, is it? It's probably just my general ineptitude, actually, to be fair. There we go. John Warren, from Christianity to Skepticism. He's a lovely guy. If you want to go check out his channel, he has a channel called Quality Questions. He's a super nice guy. He appeared on a panel, which I also appeared on for the Street Epistemology website. And so that channel, so we're going to do just a one-on-one conversation about his journey through, I guess, religion and being from Christianity to skepticism, as it says there. And that will be on the 18th. So that's tomorrow at 1900 GMT. We've also got an upcoming just a general chat, really, on Discord. So on Saturday the 20th, we're going to be doing just a general chit chat on Discord. So we're just going to encourage people to come and join us. I'll be there. Robin, do you think you'll be there? Are you around on the Saturday the 20th of November at 5 o'clock?
Don't know yet. Might be.
Don't know. Robin might be there, but come anyway. If he's there, we'll just mute him. He's not the best one anyway. We know that. I mean, that's just science.
I'm the only one who got love tonight.
He is the only one that got love. That is true. Yeah. I'm not happy about that at all. Things need to change. This is what happens when you share camera space with somebody. Anyway, let's chat. We're going to have a general chat on Discord. So if you're not a member of the Discord channel, please take a look at the website. Actually, so there's going to be some new links going up on the website fairly soon, which will hopefully help you guys get access to all of the things that we're on now. So give me a day, and then all the links to everything. I think there's a link to Discord in the Twitch and the YouTube channels, but there'll also be one on the website by tomorrow. But in any case, come and join us for the discussions on the Discords. And then we are your name here. So this is the placeholder artwork. So this is Saturday the 27th of November. We're going to be doing this talk with this lovely a gentleman called Jonah, who's basically used to be a Mormon. He was a Mormon missionary for some time and has now left the Mormon church, or at least, as it says there, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That is Joseph Smith, by the way. He's quite a handsome-looking guy, or at least the person who painted his portrait wanted to give him that impression. In any case. So yeah, we'll be talking to him about Mormonism and his journey out of it. And that will be on Saturday, the 27th of November. So please feel free to check back here. As always, we'll be back with some more Deviant Minds on Wednesday, assuming Robin hasn't just automatically become a star overnight and has formed his own TV show station platform, The Robin Show. What would you call it, Robin?
Oh, man. I don't know.
My Wanking
Tits
Life
building.
Live. Tits building. Why would you not? Why would you not?
Yeah.
So yeah, check it all out. So right, for those of us that are, those of you all that are on Twitch, this is the weird part because like there are sort of twitchy things that you need to sort of do. Well, I want to do, and it feels weirdly not super integrated into this experience. So bear
Can't
with me.
raid from here. Or can you? Oh, I can't hear you anymore. Yeah, you're completely gone.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Oh wow, that did not go well. Okay, I can hear at least 3 of me in this moment, which is breaking my mind.
That's exciting.
It is, and also isn't.
Excuse me.
So, for those of you who... Oh, God, I can't talk and hear myself, so I'm going to do that. Right, so for those of you who are watching on Twitch, we will raid Maurisu, and so we will just do that. We'll kick that off. And then for everybody watching us over on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us on YouTube.
Thank you so much.
Twitch or YouTube, we don't distinguish here. But yeah, you guys are the... Oh, wow, this looks very sci-fi. This is the first time we've done this cross-streaming thing, so let us know how it goes in the comments. We would love to hear your thoughts. It's been a bit of a shambolic show today, hasn't it, Mr. Robin?
Oh, yeah, it's been all over the shop.
Shambolic.
Yeah.
But we're just experimenting with this new tool, and yeah, we'll hopefully be back. Well, we definitely will be back next week. So until then, everybody, love you all. Stay safe, take care, and we'll see you next time. Say goodbye, Robin.
Bye.
Bye.